Chapter 459. Hearing Sima Yuyue's words, Ninth Rock clenched her fists and looked at Little Rock worriedly. She had also experienced the transformation lightning tribulation, so she naturally knew how terrifying it was. There were so many sacred beasts in the primordial lands. The reason why many of them did not want to transform was because the lightning tribulation was too powerful. Seeing the sacred beasts fail to transform and turn into ashes in the end, everyone was terrified. "Mother, don't worry. You can trust me." Little Pung comforted her. "Yes, you have to do your best." Ninth Rock knew that this was something it had to go through, so she did not say anything to dissuade it. Sima Yue said to Wind Rock, "I'll have to trouble Clan Elder to ask the others to leave this place." "All right." Wind Rock waved his hand, and all the 4 winged rocks flew out of the valley, leaving the area that Sima Yue said. Sima Yue looked at Sima Lai and the rest. They were all sitting on their flying beasts, far away from the area where the lightning tribulation could appear. "Mother, you should leave too," Little Rock said to the unwilling Ninth Rock. "I'll be fine." "Yes." Ninth Rock touched Little Rock reluctantly and prepared to leave. Seeing that Sima Yue was still there, she said, "Let me take you away." "I'll stay behind with Little Rock." Sima Yue said, "We have a contract, we can fight against the lightning tribulation together." Ninth Rock was taken aback. It was unknown what she was thinking as she said, "Thank you." After saying that, she transformed into her true form, spread her wings and flew away. When everyone was far away, Sima Yue said, "Let's start. Chongming, come out and teach Little Pung how to trigger the lightning tribulation." The appearance of Chongming made Cho Xiaotian, who was far away, shocked. How did this guy have a contract beast? Other than these, she couldn't possibly have more, right? Chongming taught Little Rock how to activate the qi in his body. Little Rock tried to follow Chongming's instructions and found some dark clouds floating in the sky. As he sped up, the speed at which the dark clouds formed in the sky also sped up. When Sima Yue saw that it was about time, she kept the Chongming and activated the array. She took out the things that Fatty Chu had refined and put them on herself and Little Rock. She then took out the pills that she had refined and put some in Little Rock's mouth. She also kept some for herself in case of emergencies. In the distance, Wei Ziqi and the rest were observing the situation of the tribulation clouds. Seeing that the dark clouds were still condensing, he said worriedly, "Why are these dark clouds still condensing? From the looks of it, it's already much bigger than Chongming's tribulation cloud, and it's still growing. Could it be that Little Rock's tribulation cloud is much stronger than Chongming's?" Fatty Chu was also worried. "Will Yue and the rest be all right?" When Chongming transformed, it was in the Yilan continent. That place was suppressed by the laws of heaven and earth. The tribulation clouds were not as powerful as the ones above. Furthermore, because Little Rock's bloodline is slightly higher, I heard that the higher the bloodline, the more powerful the transformation lightning tribulation. Ouying Fei said. Furthermore, Little Rock wants to use the lightning tribulation to activate the power of his bloodline. I'm afraid that there will be unforeseen events later on. Bei Gong Tang said. Ninth Rock and the rest were even more worried. They had never seen this kind of tribulation cloud before. It was even more powerful than when they transformed. Sima Yue looked at the tribulation cloud in the sky and furrowed her brows. Looking at the situation, the lightning tribulation this time would not be easy to pass. Could it be that the tribulation cloud has felt the power of the great rock's bloodline in your body? That's why it's so powerful. She looked at the tribulation cloud that was still growing in size and could not help but twitch her mouth. It was a good thing that they had done quite a bit of preparation this time. If they had directly faced the tribulation, they would have been completely destroyed. Just as the lightning was about to fall, Crimson Flame came out and flicked a drop of golden blood at Little Rock. Little Rock opened his mouth and directly sucked the blood in. Use the power of the lightning to catalyze it. After saying this, he returned to the spirit pagoda. Sima Yue was speechless. This guy didn't even greet her when he came out and went in. Zizi. The lightning made a sound in the sky, but did not fall. It was as if it was tormenting their hearts. The commotion here had attracted quite a few people. Many people were sitting on flying beasts and rushed over. They wanted to see what kind of spirit beast had transformed to cause such a huge commotion. Seeing that more and more people were rushing over, Cho Xiaotian's expression became ugly. Their whereabouts would definitely be exposed like this. As expected, he saw a few people gather together to discuss after seeing them. After that, a few people quickly left. However, he guessed that the Fei clan would not dare to directly go against Sima Yue and the rest. As long as Little Rock passed the lightning tribulation and completely activated the power of his bloodline, he would become a great rock. He would be able to command more than one race of birds. The Fei clan would not dare to take this risk. Sima Yue did not have the energy to pay attention to what was happening outside. All of her attention was on the sky. It was a good thing that when she got Sima Yulin to set up the array, she thought of this and added a protective array inside. This way, others would not be able to enter and increase the intensity of the lightning tribulation. It's coming down, Sima Yue said. The lightning at the beginning will not be very strong. You have to experience it yourself. It can activate your bloodline and improve your physique. I will go with you later. Okay. Little Rock replied and prepared himself to face it alone. The people who had come to watch were extremely shocked when they saw Sima Yue and Little Rock standing together. Is that the Spirit Beast's contract master? What is he doing inside? Is he going to go through the tribulation with the Spirit Beast? Is this person crazy? He's actually going through the tribulation with the Spirit Beast? I've never seen someone like this. Isn't he afraid of being struck to death by lightning? That's right. If the Spirit Beast is struck to death, it can still contract another one. But if this person is struck to death, there will be nothing left. Isn't that so? This person, I don't know if he's really stupid, or if he's too nice to his contract beast. This lightning tribulation is a little too big. Someone finally realized that something was wrong. It seems like it. Isn't this a four-winged rock? I've never seen such a big commotion before. It's definitely a higher bloodline. I heard that the four-winged rock has the bloodline of the great rock. Could it be? It's possible. Look, its feathers are golden yellow. Zap dash. While everyone was discussing, the first bolt of lightning was finally ready and struck towards Little Rock. When the lightning struck the teleportation array, some of the lightning energy was absorbed by the array and sent to the ground, neutralizing a portion of its power. When it landed on Little Rock's body, Fatty Chew's lightning protection clothes also took effect and blocked out a portion of the lightning. The rest of the lightning entered Little Rock's body, and the pain instantly tore at his nerves. The drop of golden blood in his mouth turned into an ancient aura and swam around his body that was being ravaged by the lightning. Little Rock could feel that wherever the aura passed, his blood seemed to be boiling. Very quickly, the second bolt of lightning struck, and the lightning protection clothes on Little Rock's body were destroyed. However, it blocked out a lot of the lightning. Boom! Little Rock felt as if something in his body had awakened. He raised his head and cried out. The aura he emitted shocked all the birds present. Chapter 460. Other than the four-winged rocks, there were many other birds who had come to watch the show. Among them were the goshawks who had heard the news. After sensing Little Rock's aura, the bird clan was shocked, while the goshawk clan's faces all darkened. No matter how hard he tried, he was still a step too late. Now that Little Rock had completely awakened the Great Rock bloodline, it could be said that he was now a great rock, and no longer a four-winged rock. As long as he could survive the lightning tribulation, he would be the king of rocks. When Goshawk saw the four-winged rock's agitated state, he said coolly, "It's still unknown whether or not it can pass the manifestation lightning tribulation. It would be best if he was struck by lightning." Captain, look, the tribulation clouds are changing. A transformed goshawk looked at the tribulation clouds in the sky and said happily. Everyone looked up and saw that the tribulation cloud had stopped sending down lightning. Furthermore, it had increased its power once again. The dark clouds grew larger and denser, causing everyone's hearts to tremble. F***CK. Luckily I didn't choose to transform back then. If this lightning struck me, I would have turned into a roasted bird. It was unknown who said this, but the onlookers all laughed. Bei Gong Tang and the others rolled their eyes at those people. As expected, they were just here to watch the show. They could still laugh at a time like this. Sima Yue took out a new lightning protection cloak and put it on Little Rock's body. At this moment he was still evolving and was lying on the ground, unable to move. Master! Little Rock raised his head and looked at Sima Yue. At this moment, he wasn't as successful as everyone thought. His body was undergoing tremendous changes, and he didn't have the strength to resist the lightning tribulation. If he was alone, 2 more lightning bolts would have turned him into ashes. Sima Yue patted his head and comforted him. Don't worry, just focus on evolving. Leave the rest to me. You can replace me when you're done. After saying that, she stood up and looked at the tribulation clouds in the sky. Pa! The tribulation cloud seemed to have sensed Sima Yue's provocation as a bolt of lightning struck down. Sima Yue leaped up and condensed her spiritual energy to attack. When she landed on the ground again, her body was already covered with electricity. The pain in her body made her kneel on one knee. She quickly mobilized the spiritual power in her body and let the electricity flow through her meridians into her body. She transformed it into lightning spiritual power and floated into her dantian, where it lay dormant. When she discovered that the lightning attribute spiritual power had increased quite a bit after entering the pool, she exclaimed, "It actually increased so quickly. Then if he absorbed a little more, would he be able to advance?" Furthermore, after absorbing the electric current into the dantian, the pain in my body has decreased by a lot. Thinking of this, she stood up and took off the lightning protection clothing on her body. She faced the lightning tribulation alone. "Yue, what are you trying to do?" Fatty Chu shouted. "She'll lose her life like this." Sima Lai and the others were also very worried. How could she take off her lightning protection robe? The power of the lightning will only get stronger and stronger. "Grandfather, don't worry. Fifth Bro has always done things appropriately. He won't act recklessly." Sima Yuran comforted him. However, his tightly clenched fists also showed the worry in his heart. Ninth Rock and the others never thought that Sima Yue would be able to receive the heavenly lightning. While they were shocked by her strength, they were also relieved. With her around, Little Rock's chances of passing the lightning tribulation would be much higher. Seeing Yue take off her lightning protection robe, she was also surprised. However, after interacting with her for the past 2 days, she believed that Yue was not a reckless person. She must have her own reasons for doing this. Zap dash, Sima Yue received another bolt of lightning. This time, she mobilized her spiritual power from the start and absorbed the lightning directly into her body. Although her entire body was in pain the moment it entered her body, and she fell to the ground because of it, the effect was not bad. The lightning was absorbed into her dantian. Lightning struck, absorbed, struck again, absorbed again. Sima Yue did not know how many times she was struck by lightning. Her body only moved mechanically. What she didn't know was that, including the 2 bolts that Little Rock had received, there were already 40 bolts of lightning. If it wasn't for the fact that she had absorbed the power of the lightning, she would have long been struck into pieces. Even so, her current situation was not optimistic, because every time the electricity in her body was not completely sent to her dantian, she would receive another bolt of lightning. More and more lightning remained in her body. If this continued, even if she did not die from the lightning, her body would explode. She raised her head and looked at the dark clouds. This time, half an hour had already passed, and it still had not descended. This meant that the lightning this time was even more powerful. She had already eaten more than half of the pills that she had refined. Her body was about to fall apart from the injuries. The array had also been completely destroyed by the previous few bolts of lightning, and was no longer of any use. She did not know if she would be able to receive another bolt of lightning this time. Suddenly, an even more ancient aura came from Little Rock's body. Compared to the aura at the beginning, this aura caused the rocks to tremble. Right now, he had truly completed his evolution and become a great rock. Little Rock moved his body, and the lightning protection robe on his body fell off. Only then did everyone see his current appearance. His 4 wings had turned into 2 wings, and all the feathers on his body had turned pure gold. It was not like the faint gold from before. His feathers were all shining with a sharp light. This meant that every feather was a powerful weapon. Golden-winged great rock. Master, leave the rest to me. Little Rock's voice sounded even more mature. He stood up and looked at the tribulation clouds in the sky. There was not a trace of fear in his eyes. Sima Yue saw Little Rock's current appearance and smiled. She nodded and said, "All right, you still have to go through your tribulation in the end. Only then will you be able to understand the heavenly Tao." Moreover, she did not have the strength to receive another bolt of lightning. Little Rock looked at her with gratitude and heartache. He lowered his head and picked up the huge lightning protection robe. He placed it on her body and said, "Master, just watch me go through the tribulation." "All right." Seeing Little Rock's confident appearance, she smiled. She crossed her legs and changed to cultivation mode. She tried to control and guide the lightning energy in her body so that it would not run amok in her body. However, the moment she entered cultivation mode, the lightning attribute spiritual energy from the tribulation also swarmed in, increasing the burden on her body. Right now, not only did she have to convert the lightning energy into lightning attribute spiritual energy, she also had to guide the lightning attribute spiritual energy that she had just absorbed into her body into her dantian. Woo! Her internal organs were injured by the lightning energy. She had been suppressing it all this while. Now that she relaxed, blood kept flowing out from the corner of her mouth. There were many cracks on the surface of her body. Her entire body was soaked in blood. She looked as if she had been fished out of a pool of blood. Feeling the injuries on her body, she had no choice but to retreat. She took out a pill and ate it. However, the lightning attribute spiritual energy and lightning energy in her body became even more violent, worsening her injuries. Damn! Don't tell me that the lightning didn't kill me and now I can't take it anymore? Chapter 461. Just when she thought that her body couldn't take it anymore, the blood ring on her left hand emitted a dark red light. It was not obvious because of the blood. Then a gentle power came from her hand. Wherever that power passed, the thunder attribute spiritual power settled down and followed her guidance into the dantian. Who? Yue let out a long sigh. Her first thought was that she was not going to die. She waited until all the spiritual energy in her body had been transferred to the pool before she opened her eyes and looked at the blood ring on her finger. That gentle power just now came from this ring. She looked at it carefully, but she didn't find anything different. Pa! A thunderous roar pulled her back from her thoughts. She raised her head and saw Little Rock falling from the sky with a bloody mess, landing heavily on the ground. Little Peng! She hurriedly crawled up and pounced towards Little Peng. Seeing that he was completely roasted, her heart ached. Fortunately, the tribulation clouds in the sky slowly dissipated after the lightning strikes. Otherwise, if it came again, the two of them would be finished. "Master, we've succeeded." Little Rock's voice was very weak. Clearly, his injuries were very serious. However, as long as he was alive, those injuries were not a problem. At this moment, a gentle light was emitted from Little Rock's body, enveloping him. Within it was the silver light of advancement. Sima Yue also felt that the energy in her body was increasing. The opportunity to level up was right in front of her. After reaching the divine level, advancing to the next level was not all about the accumulation of power. Many people might not be able to advance, even after reaching the great perfection stage. It was because they lacked such opportunities. When the four-winged rocks and Sima Lai saw that the two of them had just passed their lightning tribulations, they hurriedly went forward and stood around the valley, surrounding them to protect them. Half an hour later, Sima Yue had successfully advanced to the intermediate God-King level, while Little Rock had also advanced from a level 2 sacred beast to a level 3 sacred beast. Yaguang, Thousand Resonance, and the others also received different levels of power feedback. Although they didn't advance, it was much better. After Sima Yue finished leveling up, the first thing she saw when she opened her eyes was a handsome guy. Before she could say anything, he hugged her and shouted happily, "Master, master! My transformation is a success! Ha ha ha!" Sima Yue couldn't breathe as he hugged her. She smiled and said, "I knew you would succeed. Little Peng has always been great. But if you keep hugging me like this, I'm going to suffocate to death." Little Rock's face was red as he let go of her. He had just successfully transformed and was not used to using his hands, so he could not control his strength. Thank you, Master. If it wasn't for Master, I would have died in less than half of the battle. Ninth Rock and the others had told him that Master had taken 38 bolts of lightning for her. Although the first 9 bolts of lightning were not very powerful, and the most important ones were the last 9 bolts, if it had not been for her, he would have been killed when he activated his blood. Sima Yue stood up and looked at Little Rock from head to toe. She laughed and said, I didn't expect our Little Rock to be so good-looking after transforming. What a handsome guy. Little Rock also liked his human form very much. From time to time, he would lower his head to look at his body. Sima Lai and the others walked over and hugged Sima Yue when they saw that she had recovered. You really scared Grandpa to death. Sima Yue patted Sima Lai's shoulder and said, I've made Grandpa worry. Yue, your advancement speed is really fast. It hasn't even been a year since you became a divine king, and you've already advanced to the intermediate level. But your advancement speed is really too scary. Fatty Chu looked at Sima Yue. She still had many scars on her body. The power brought by her advancement only healed her internal injuries. These superficial wounds did not have much of an effect. Ninth Rock came to her side and held her hand. She looked at her gratefully and said, Thank you. I really feel that Little Rock is lucky to have a contracted master like you. I'm also lucky, Sima Yue said. Mother, let's go and settle things over there. Let Master rest and recuperate first. Little Rock said. Not far away, many bird clans were waiting for him. Little Rock brought Ninth Rock and left. Sima Yue ate 2 more pills. They were both 6th-ranked healing pills. From the beginning of the tribulation, she had already eaten many pills. If one was not an alchemist, no one would be able to afford this kind of consumption. Those people who came to watch the show all dispersed. Only the bird clan stayed behind. Although some were unwilling, once the great rock appeared, no one dared to go against it. They had to treat it as their king. In the city, a black-clothed man received the news. His face was so black that it could drip water. The people around him did not dare to speak carelessly. I didn't expect that we were still one step too late, and allowed it to evolve into a great rock, he said hatefully, thinking that his own people were now bowing down to Little Rock. His heart was filled with anger. Goshawk King, according to the news they sent back, that great rock relied on external help to successfully evolve. Its strength is not very strong, Fei Si said. If we can kill it before it grows, then you will have the final say in the future. Although its strength is not high, in front of it, all the bird clans will be suppressed by its bloodline. If we want to kill it, it will not be easy. The black-clothed man Goshawk King said. Aren't we working together? Fei Si smiled and said, If we can help you get rid of that great rock. Really? Goshawk King looked at Fei Si, wanting to confirm if what he said was true. I said this is a collaboration. We are working for you, so we will naturally bear the risks. You will naturally have to give us benefits in return. You know, our Fei clan and Liang clan are both super clans. We have deep grudges, Fei Si said. If you can help us kill the great rock, we can help you. Goshawk King said. Fei Si was in a difficult position and said, That would be the best. However, I am worried that if we kill the great rock, it will cause the bird clans to attack us. Although our Fei clan is big, we do not have the ability to fight against the entire bird clan. You don't have to worry about that. These bird clans have been independent all these years. Not many of them are willing to be ruled by others. As long as there is no great rock, I have a way to prevent the bird clans from finding trouble with you. Goshawk King said. That's good. Fei Si said. However, I cannot make the decision on such a big matter. I also cannot mobilize too many experts. Therefore, I would like to invite Goshawk King to Innumerable Green City to discuss with my clan head. What do you think? Goshawk King was silent for a while, then said, All right, then we will make a trip to Innumerable Green City. If you have nothing else to do, we can leave now. This great rock is in the outskirts. Are you not going to pay your respects? Fei Si asked. Not going. If you want me to pay my respects to it, that is impossible. Goshawk King laughed coldly and said, Since that is the case, then let's go back. Fei Si took out a one-time use teleportation array and placed it on the ground. The teleportation array to the Fey clan was formed. The group of people entered and quickly disappeared from the house. Chapter 462. When Sima Yue opened her eyes again, the birds that came to worship Little Rock had already returned. Only the four-winged rocks remained. After asking, he found out that she had been in seclusion for half a month. After washing up, she walked out of the tent. Little Rock, who was talking to Wind Rock and the others, quickly walked over. Master. Sima Yue looked at Little Rock's handsome face and said with a smile, "Don't call me master in the future. You are the king of the rocks after all. Calling me master in front of others is damaging to your dignity." "Then I'll call you Yu, Little Rock said. Yu, how about that?" "That's right." Sima Yue smiled. She looked at Ninth Rock and the others and asked, "How are things going?" "These past few days, most of the royal bird clans have already come. Only a few haven't come," Little Rock said. "Goshawk King?" "Yes." Little Rock nodded. "We received news that Goshawk King Songmang went to the Fey clan. He should be discussing something. The Goshawk King and the Fey clan must be up to no good. They might even be discussing how to destroy us," Cho Xiaotian said from the side. "Goshawk King doesn't want Little Rock to live. Fey clan doesn't want Lian Hong to live. Lang and Bei are connected just like that." "I'm afraid it's not that simple," Sima Yulin said. "How do you know?" Cho Xiaotian knew that Sima Yulin was usually a man of few words, but he was always right. "The Goshawk King wants to use the Fey family to kill Little Rock. This hypothesis is valid. However, if the Fey family wants to use the Goshawk King to deal with us, they are making a mountain out of a molehill." Sima Yulin analyzed. "The Fey clan is one of the most powerful clans in the province. If they want to kill you, it won't be that difficult. Compared to killing Little Rock, the conditions are not equal. The Fey clan wouldn't do such a thankless task." "That's right. Then they must have other conditions," Cho Xiaotian said. "Let's put aside the matter of dealing with the Goshawk clan and pacifying the bird clan's internal strife for now. Let's go to Innumerable Green City first. Only after completing this matter can we fully focus on the battle." Sima Yue said, "Little Peng, you don't have to come with us. Go back with your mother and the rest to discuss these matters. We'll come back for you after we send them over." Little Rock hesitated. He didn't want to be separated from Sima Yue, but from the news he received from his mother and the elders, the situation here was more troublesome. If he delayed for too long, the Goshawk tribe and the other tribes might make a big move. Ninth Rock saw her son's hesitation and said, "How about this? I'll get a few of the higher-ranking members of the clan to escort them to Innumerable Green City. Little Rock, you go back to the clan and take charge of the situation. Once they're done with their business, you can meet up with us." "All right, tell me your coordinates. We'll use the teleportation formation to come over. It won't take too long," Sima Yue said. "All right then," Little Rock said. "Mother, you must send someone stronger to protect you and the others." "Mother will," Ninth Rock replied. In the Four-Winged Rocks clan, those who were named after numbers were of higher status in the clan. If she wanted to send someone to protect Sima Yue and the others, it was still possible. In order to narrow down the target, Sima Yue got Sima Yule and the others to stay behind. Initially, she only wanted to bring Sima Yulin because the two of them would be able to set up the teleportation formation together. Furthermore, his battle prowess was higher than the others. However, they all said that it was too dangerous for the two of them to go alone. In the end, she got Bei Gong Tang and Ouyang Fei to go with them. Ninth Rock found 4 spirit beasts for them. They were all in human form and wouldn't stand out if they went with them. The 8 of them flew into the city. After the lightning tribulation, everyone in the city knew that Sima Yue was with the Four-Winged Rocks. Now that she had entered, even if they knew that she was someone the Fey clan wanted to capture, no one dared to do anything. That was because no one dared to go against the Four-Winged Rocks. They went to the city lord's residence. When they saw them, the people in the city lord's residence were shocked. Someone quickly came forward and asked, "Are you going to use the teleportation formation?" "Yeah, we're going to Innumerable Green City," Sima Yue said. "I'm really sorry. We can't go directly to Innumerable Green City from here. That person said. Then let's go to the nearest city. The nearest is Grand City. Hearing Grand City, Lian Hong's body shook. Cho Xiaotian's expression turned ugly. What's wrong? Sima Yue asked when she saw their strange expressions. Grand City is the city where the Lian clan is located, Cho Xiaotian said. Sima Yue was stunned, saying, Then why don't we change cities? Lian Hong shook his head, saying, No need. Let's just go there. I want to see the place where my father grew up. That's fine too, Sima Yue said to the people in the city lord's residence. Then let's go to Grand City. The 8 of them entered the teleportation formation. The people in the city lord's residence inserted their spirit energy into the area marked as Grand City. The teleportation formation lit up, and the 8 of them quickly disappeared. Outside, the 2 Fey clansmen looked at each other. Quickly inform young Master C of their whereabouts. Grand City was rather far away. When Sima Yue came out of the teleportation formation, she was already dizzy. The few of them had no choice but to find an inn to stay the night. Bei Gong Tang supported Sima Yue into the room and gave her some water to wash her. See, it's a good thing I came. Otherwise, no one would be able to take care of you like this. Sima Yue lay on the bed and said dizzily. Previously, when we left Heavenly Tiger Ridge, the distance was not far, so I didn't feel anything. I thought that I wouldn't be dizzy, but I didn't expect that I would still be dizzy. If you can learn how to calculate the space in this continent, you can set up your own teleportation formation, Bei Gong Tang said. Yeah, I'll learn it when I return to Divine Devil Valley. Sima Yue rubbed her temples. I heard that Martial Uncle is an array master. Maybe I can ask him for advice. That's good too. Bei Gong, do you have any suggestions? It's not a suggestion. I just heard from my mother that there's a very good academy in the central region that has very high attainments in various professions. If you can learn the art of divination here, you'll be able to get rid of this pain sooner. Is that academy very famous? Sima Yue asked. It's an organization that's comparable to the surrounding powers. I heard that many people went to the central regions after they came out. Furthermore, many of them even entered the Divine Devil Valley, Bei Gong Tang said. Since that's the case, after we save your mother and brother, we can go and take a look, Sima Yue said. But for now let me sleep first. Bei Gong Tang looked at her pained expression and laughed before turning around and leaving the house. At this moment, in a large courtyard on the other side of the city, a figure hurriedly ran in. He entered a study room and said, Mistress Lian Hong and Cho Xiaotian came to Grand City today. Chapter 463. Sima Yue slept for a whole day and felt much better at night. She couldn't sleep anymore. Just as she was about to get up to drink some water, she suddenly felt 2 strong auras surrounding the small courtyard. Not good. She put down the glass and rushed out. As soon as she opened the door, she saw 2 black shadows flashing past. They were holding a person in their hands. Stop! She chased them down the corridor and came to the window. She saw the 2 of them carrying Lian Hong and flying out. A figure chased after him. It was Cho Xiaotian. You come up. Sima Yulin sat on his flying beast and came up. Sima Yue jumped down, and Bei Gong Tang, who had rushed over, also jumped up. The 3 of them followed Cho Xiaotian and chased after them. The 4 four-winged rocks also chased after them. They transformed into their true forms and soon overtook Sima Yue and the rest. The speed of the 4-winged rock was very fast. It did not take long for it to catch up with the 2 people and surround them. Bring him over. One of them said to the other. All right. That person carried Lian Hong and continued to fly forward while the other person attacked Sima Yue and the rest to prevent them from chasing after them. Sima Yue and the other 2 four-winged rocks surrounded the man, while Cho Xiaotian chased after him with the other 2 four-winged rocks. She did not know what they had done to him. He was even unconscious. He let that person lead him to soak in the water. Who are you people? The 4-winged rock looked at that person and asked. The Lian family? Sima Yue saw that they hadn't changed into their night clothes. Their attire was still considered to be of high quality. Furthermore, they dared to brazenly kidnap people and only captured Lian Hong alone. Other than the Lian clan, There was no other possibility. Oomph. That person did not answer. Instead, he attacked with all his might towards Sima Yue and the others, trying to break through their encirclement. Since that person was able to fly, he was at least at the divine ancestor level. Sima Yue and the rest could only dodge his attacks. This also achieved his goal, as he instantly flew in the opposite direction. Young miss, what do we do now? The four-winged roc asked. They knew how to address Sima Yue. They couldn't keep calling her contractor, so everyone called her Mississippi Sima. Yue looked in the direction that the person had left in and said, "Let's not care about that person. Let's chase after them." That person was just a small soldier of the Lian clan. If Lian Hong was really brought to the Lian clan, they would have to gather their men to rescue him. They flew in that direction for a while, and saw Cho Xiaotian and the two four-winged rocs being attacked by a group of people from afar. Lian Hong was nowhere to be seen. The two four-winged rocs also joined the battle. They didn't expect the Lian clan's people to be so strong. Just a few of them dealing with a single flying beast was actually able to hold them back. "Brother Cho, where's Lian Hong?" When Cho Xiaotian saw Sima Yue and the others rushing over, he hurriedly said, "Yue, they have captured little Lian and brought him down." Sima Yue looked at the courtyard not far away and said, "Yulin, let's go over." The flying beast brought them over. Just as they flew above the Lian clan's courtyard, many guards came out from inside and surrounded them. "Who are you? How dare you trespass into the Lian clan's courtyard?" The leader of the guards scolded. Sima Yue looked at the 10 over people who came out all of a sudden and said, "You've captured our people. We're here to save them." "Nonsense. How could our Lian clan capture your people?" The leader of the guards said, "You've just captured them. Do you still want to deny it?" Sima Yue saw that the other party was denying it, and said that she was worried for Lian Hong's safety. She said anxiously, "You'd better let them go. Otherwise, don't blame us for being impolite." "Impudent." The leader of the guards scolded. "Where did you come from? How dare you threaten the Lian clan? You've indeed captured our people just now. Your guards are still fighting with our people over there. Our people saw you bring them here. We're not threatening you. We're just stating a fact." Sima Yue said, "No matter who you are, if you dare to offend the Lian clan, you must be captured. Get them." The leader of the guards waved his hand, and the others came forward to capture them. "You're asking for death." She quickly formed a flaming sword and injected Qi Yan's flames into it. She swept it out and the few people and their mounts were burned to ashes. The rest of the people quickly retreated and looked at the flame in Sima Yue's hand in fear. Just as the leader of the guards was about to call for help, two people flew out from the two courtyards of the Lian clan. They looked at Sima Yue's flame in shock. This is... The two of them were extremely excited. They looked at Sima Yue and asked excitedly, "What kind of flame is this?" Sima Yue did not speak. She looked at the two old men cautiously. She could not feel the aura of the two at all. They were just like normal people. However, the two of them could fly. Elder Black and Elder White. They said that we captured their people and trespassed into the Lian clan. They even killed a few of our guards. The leader of the guards said. Elder Black and Elder White looked at Sima Yue and asked, "Why do you want to kill our people?" "You captured our people." Sima Yue said. "Do you know who captured them? Which courtyard did they enter?" Elder White asked. "We didn't see them." Sima Yue said. "When we rushed over, they were already gone. However, we recognized their clothes. There was a magnolia flower at the corner of their clothes just like yours. You didn't see it with your own eyes. How can you be so sure that they entered our Lian clan? Even if they were wearing our Lian clan's clothes, others could wear them and impersonate them." Elder Black said. "It was your people who captured little Lian." Cho Xiaotian flew over. The four-winged rocs came to Sima Yue's side and turned into their human forms to protect her. "Miss, are you all right?" The four-winged rocs felt the temperature of Qi Yan's flame and asked nervously. "I'm fine." Sima Yue retracted her flame. Four-winged rocs. Elder Black and Elder White looked at the four-winged rocs and raised their eyebrows. Cho Xiaotian looked at Elder Black and Elder White and said, "Although little Lian is a member of your Lian clan, You have never asked about him all these years. He will not be a threat to you. Please let him go. The birds of this bird clan were the most arrogant. Why would they follow a human and protect her? Our clan's people? You're saying that we captured our own people? Elder Black frowned and said, would we have nothing better to do than eat and do something like this? The situation here had alarmed the higher-ups of the Lien clan, and they all rushed over. Clan. Everyone flew to the side and made way for a tall and skinny man. Lien Ju flew to Elder Black and Elder White and said, I didn't think that the two clan elders would be alerted too. Elder White saw Lien Ju and said, you came at the right time. She said that we captured their people, and that they were members of our Lien clan. Tell us what's going on. Chapter 464. Lien Zhuangxing was startled and said, we didn't send anyone to capture anyone today. What's his name? Lien Hong. Chou Xiaotian said, Lien Hong? Is there anyone in our clan with this name? Lien Zhuangxing asked the housekeeper beside him. Master, we do have someone called Lien Hong, but he's a 5-year-old child from the 3rd-generation branch. He's currently living in the branch, so no one went to capture him. The housekeeper replied, you heard it, we don't have the person you're talking about. Lien Zhuangxing said to Chou Xiaotian, are you mistaken? We're not surprised that you don't recognize him. After all, you didn't ask about him for so many years, so you've already made your intentions clear. But I didn't think that your Lien clan would be the same as the Fei clan. We just arrived in Tai City, and you're already trying to capture him. We don't understand what you're saying. We've never done anything to our own clan members. If the person you're talking about was really from the Lien clan, we wouldn't have not known. The person behind Lien Zhuangxing said, you, a person from who knows where, want to throw dirty water on our Lien clan? I think you don't want to live anymore. Lien Yu, you dare say that he's not from your Lien clan? Chou Xiaotian said. Then his child, isn't he from your Lien clan? Hearing Lien Yu's name, everyone was shocked. A woman flew up from below, crying and said, you're talking about Yuer's child? Where is Yuer? Why hasn't he come back to see us for so many years? Who are you? I'm Yuer's mother, please tell me, where is Yuer? The woman looked at Chou Xiaotian pleadingly. Lien Yu already died a few decades ago. Chou Xiaotian said. That year, not long after you expelled him from the clan, he and Fei Mengmeng were killed by the Fei clan. How could that be? Lien Yu's mother was stunned, almost falling from the sky. Luckily, a man beside her held her up. That year, there was another Lien clan member with us. At that time, Lien Yu had already been killed, and the Fei clan soldiers were chasing after us. He should have been able to survive. Could it be that he didn't bring back the news of Lien Yu's death? Chou Xiaotian said. You're talking about Lienin? Lien Yu's mother asked. It's him. Chou Xiaotian said. When Lienin came back, she said that Yuer had taken Fei Mengmeng to a faraway place. She even said that she wanted me to treat it as if she had never given birth to him. That's why after so many years, we never tried to find his whereabouts. We didn't even know that he had long since. Lien Yu's mother said with tears streaming down her face. Suddenly she thought of something and said, you said Yuer's son. Lien Yu and Fei Mengmeng had a child, but both of them died when the child wasn't even a year old. All these years, I've been taking him to escape from the Fei family's pursuit. I didn't expect that he would be captured by you guys the moment we arrived in Tai City. Chou Xiaotian looked at the Lien family members, trying to find clues from their faces. When the Lien family heard this news, they all fell silent. Lien Yu, as the young master of the direct line of descent, had a high chance of becoming the future head of the Lien family. However, he fell in love with someone from the Fei clan. In order to be with her, he was willing to be expelled from the clan and lose the right to be with her. Lien Yu's mother grabbed the hand of the man beside her and said agitatedly, Yuer has a child, he has a child. Cough cough, I say. This isn't the time for you to be agitated. Your grandson has been captured. If you continue to be agitated, your grandson will lose his life. Sima Yu were reminded. Who are you? Even if what you said is true, our Lien family has never known of such a person's existence. Who would go and capture him? Don't slander our Lien family. This crime isn't something you can bear. A man berated. And who are you? Cho Xiaotian asked. I'm Lian Yu's third brother, Lian Tian. That man said. You bunch of people of unknown origins. Just because you say that you have news of my big brother, you think it's true? We haven't known of this matter for so many years. How can we believe your one-sided words? An elder beside Lian Tian also opened his mouth to agree. Head, third young master is right. These people's origins are unknown. We can't just believe their one-sided words. Our Lian family has never kidnapped or killed the innocent. How can we allow them to slander us like this? In my opinion, we should capture them and wait for confirmation. No, Lian Yu's mother shouted. If my grandson's life is in danger, isn't waiting like this taking his life? Mother, do you really believe that big brother is dead? Lian Tian said. Before Lianan died, he said that big brother left by himself. He said that he was going to fly far away. You believe that big brother is dead the moment they come out? This, Lian Yu's mother was stunned. She looked at her husband and didn't know what to do. She didn't know if she should believe Sima Yue and the others. Sima Yue saw that they were skeptical and said, There's no one here now. You can choose not to believe. But what if I find him in your Lian family? If you can find him, we won't pursue the matter of you breaking into the Lian family and killing my guards. Lian Ju said. I don't think head Lian will deny anything. Sima Yue said confidently. Lian Tian thought for a moment and said, Head Lian is magnanimous and allows you to enter our family to find him. However, we can't let you search forever. Otherwise, we won't be able to finish our search tonight. At most, we'll take half an hour. If you can't find him, you'll have to obediently let us deal with you. We don't need that long. Sima Yue looked at Lian Tian meaningfully. Cho Xiaotian looked at Sima Yue worriedly. Yue, the Lian family is so big. How will we know where little Lian is? Big brother Cho, don't worry. I have a way. Sima Yue said as she clapped her hands. Then please. Lian Ju said. Wait. Sima Yue said calmly as she wasn't in a hurry to enter. Cho Xiaotian saw that Sima Yue wasn't in a hurry. Then, he looked at Bei Gong Tang and the others and saw that they were calm as well. He could only wait anxiously at the side. The Lian family saw that Sima Yue wasn't going in yet. After all, their residence was huge. If they wanted to find him in half an hour, it would take at most 2 hours. After 10 minutes, Sima Yue still hadn't moved. The Lian family was getting angry. Was she playing with them? You still don't plan to go in? Elder Bai saw that Sima Yue still hadn't moved and was extremely curious. I'll be done soon. Sima Yue replied. Suddenly, she saw something and smiled. She said to Sima Yue, You can go in now. Cho Xiaotian didn't know what Sima Yue was doing. She hadn't moved at all before and only went in now. Was there enough time? He saw a bee fly over and fly in front of Sima Yue for a while. Sima Yue pointed at one of the houses and said, You Lin there. Lian Tian saw where Sima Yue was pointing and his expression changed. Chapter 465. That's young Master Lian Tian's house. How could he be there? A man sneered. Whether or not he is there, won't we know once we find him? Sima Yue said, You Lin, go there. Okay. Sima Yue ordered the flying beast to fly towards the house. Lian Tian's face turned pale. He glanced at the leader of the guards, who immediately led the guards to block their way. Sima Yue turned around and looked at Lian Ju. Lian Ju waved his hands, and the guards had no choice but to retreat. The flying beast brought everyone to the house. Even with their speed, they flew for 10 minutes. There were less than 10 minutes left. Yue, will Lil Lian really be here? Cho Xiaotian asked as he looked at the house. Trust me. Let's go in. Sima Yue said. Patriarch Lian, do you want to come in with us? Yes, of course. Elder Bai said. His gaze never left the scarlet bee on Sima Yue's shoulder. Then let's go. Sima Yue jumped down from the flying beast. Elders Black and White, Lian Ju, Lian Yu's mother and Lian Tian followed. Lian Yu's mother looked at Lian Tian with a complicated gaze. Her lips moved, but she didn't say anything. She followed Sima Yue and the others into the house. Young master. A few servants came out of the house. When they saw the looks they gave him, Lian Tian relaxed. There is no Lian Hong here. You lied about my brother's death and made my mother sad. Now you want to frame me? He asked loudly. There really is no one here, Lien Ju said. They were all cultivators. Even if they didn't enter every house, they would know what was going on inside. Sima Yue smiled but didn't say anything. She walked into an unremarkable house. When she entered, there was no one inside. There are 3 minutes left, an elder reminded from behind. Lien Tian's lips curled into a smile, saying, How is it? I told you you are a bunch of liars. It was a pity that his smile didn't last long, because he saw a bee on the wall. It was the same bee as the one on Sima Yue's shoulder. Why would there be bees here? She had come here after the bees had left. Now that the bees had appeared on the wall, her heart sank to the bottom. Under his horrified gaze, Sima Yue came to the side of the wall, stretched out her hand, and pressed on the position of the bee. She exerted force and one side of the wall moved to the other side, revealing a dark room. In the dark room, Lien Hong lay unconscious on the ground. Little Lien. Chou Xiaotian hurriedly ran over and carried Lien Hong up. The face that was 70% similar to his own father appeared in front of everyone. You are, Lien Yu's mother shouted. She ran over and wanted to reach out to touch Lien Hong, but she didn't dare. Sima Yue went forward and checked Lien Hong's body. Then, she took out a jade bottle, opened the lid, and placed it under his nose for him to smell. Ugh! Lien Hong smelled the odor and slowly woke up. When he saw Chou Xiaotian, he weakly called out, Master. Seeing that Lien Hong had woken up, Chou Xiaotian heaved a sigh of relief. He looked at Lien Ju and said, Master Lien, what do you say about this? Lien Ju's expression was very ugly. He looked at Lien Tian and waved his hand. 2 guards came forward and grabbed Lien Tian. Master! Lien Tian shouted. Go to the main hall. Lien Ju's face darkened, and he left the courtyard after saying this. The guards took Lien Tian away and the others followed. Only Sima Yue and the others were left in the courtyard. Child. Lien Yu's mother lovingly touched Lien Hong's face. You are. Lien Hong looked at his grandmother in confusion. He had just woken up and was not very clear about what had happened tonight. I am your grandmother, Hua Nanin said. Lien Yu's mother saw the familiar face and couldn't help but cry. You are my grandmother? Lien Hong looked at Hua Nanin in surprise, then turned to Chou Xiaotian and said, Master, what is going on? At this time, a guard came over and said, Second, madam, Master wants you to bring them to the main hall. I understand. Hua Nanin wiped the tears off her face and said, I also want to know what is going on. Come with me to the main hall. Sima Yue looked at Chou Xiaotian. They didn't have any objections. Go, Chou Xiaotian said. From what happened tonight, he could see that it wasn't that the Fei family didn't care about Lien Hong all these years, but that they didn't even know about his existence. On the way to the main hall, Lien Hong found out about what happened tonight. He looked at Sima Yue and the others gratefully. Hua Nanin also found out about what happened that year, and how they had been hiding all these years. When they reached the main hall, there were already many people inside. Lien Hong and Chou Xiaotian went in, but Sima Yue was stopped by 2 people before she could enter. Little girl, what kind of flame did you use tonight? What kind of bee is that? Can you show us your flame again? Can you show us the bee first? No, let's look at the flame first. Go away, let's look at the bee first. That's a rare flame. That bee might be the extinct scarlet bee. Let's look at the flame first. Let's look at the bee first. Let's look at it first. Sima Yue looked at the 2 elders who suddenly appeared and rubbed her forehead. She didn't care if they were elders from the Lien family and shouted, Stop right there. When the people in the main hall heard her, they all stopped. When they saw that she wasn't talking to them, they continued talking. Sima Yue looked at the 2 of them and said seriously, When did I say that I would show you the flame and the bee? Ah. Elder Black and Elder White looked at Sima Yue and said, You won't show it to us? Little girl, we can't do that. We won't be able to eat or sleep. What does that have to do with me? I'm not from the Lien family. Sima Yue crossed her arms in front of her chest. How can it have nothing to do with you? Elder White said. These things are all yours, so it has something to do with you. They're talking inside. Let's go to the side and talk. Elder Black said as he grabbed Sima Yu's shoulder and brought her away. Four-Winged Rock wanted to chase after them, but Bei Gong Tang said, "No need to chase after them, she'll be fine." 2 minutes later, Sima Yu was brought to a courtyard and Elder White came down. "Little girl, tell us, what do we have to do for you to show us the flame and the bee?" Elder Black went straight to the point. Sima Yu smiled. These two old fellows were really good. "Actually, it's not impossible for you to see my things, but you have to promise me one thing." "What is it?" Elder White asked impatiently. Chapter 466. My request is very simple. If Lian Hong falls out with the Lian family, can you guarantee that we can leave the Lian family safely? Sima Yue asked. Elder Black and Elder White did not expect Sima Yu's request to be so simple. They thought that she would have a higher request. "Just this request?" Elder Bai asked. "That's right." Sima Yue smiled and said, "As long as you can guarantee our safety, I will show you my flames and bees." "Alright, it's a deal. Now let's take a look at that flame." Sima Yue moved her finger, and a wisp of flame appeared on her fingertip. Although it was only a wisp of flame, it increased the temperature of the surroundings significantly. This temperature is even higher than the godly fire we encountered last time. Elder Bai exclaimed. The temperature wasn't this high just now, was it? Sima Yue opened her left hand, and a ball of flame appeared in her palm. She clasped her hands together, and the two balls of flame fused together. The surrounding temperature dropped immediately. Flame fusion? Elder He looked at the flame in Sima Yu's palm in astonishment. He was so agitated that his entire body trembled. How can your flame fuse? It's simple. These are all my flames, and they have the same aura. Naturally, there won't be an explosion when they fuse together. Sima Yue said. These flames are all yours? Elder Bai asked. What belongs to my contracted beast is naturally mine. Sima Yue moved her wrist and the flames disappeared. Aya, that's it? You only said to take a look, isn't that enough? Sima Yue glanced at him. What about the bees? Elder He asked. Sima Yue called out a scarlet bee. When Elder He saw the scarlet bee, his eyes lit up and he said excitedly, Is this the legendary scarlet bee? Yes, Sima Yue said. Where did these scarlet bees come from? It was brought up from the continent below us. Sima Yue said. The lower continents. The Black and White clan elders were stunned. Could it be that the scarlet bees on the upper continents had already gone extinct, but the lower continents still had them? In fact, what they didn't know was that there were a few people in the central region who had scarlet bees, but there were very few of them. Hee hee, little doll, how many scarlet bees do you have? Do you have any scarlet honey? Elder Bai chuckled. If you do, we're willing to exchange treasures for it. You want scarlet honey? Sima Yue looked at the two of them and thought of something. She smiled and said, I've collected some of this scarlet honey. You are the elders of the Lian clan, and we are friends with Lian Hong. If Lian Hong becomes a member of the Lian clan, then you will naturally be my friend's elders. Not to mention exchanging with you. I can even give it to you. But if we become enemies, I won't give them to my enemies, right? Aren't you just trying to get Lian Hong back to the family? Elder Bai looked at Sima Yue. Just you wait. After saying that, he disappeared in a flash. Elder Bai, where did you go? The main hall. Elder Black said confidently. He knew his partner very well. Very quickly Elder Bai returned. He looked at Sima Yue and said, It's done. Lian Hong has returned to the family. Tomorrow, they will write his name into the family records. Sima Yue was speechless. This Elder Bai was too fast. No one else has any objections. In such a big family, there would definitely be people who would object, right? What's the use of their objections? As long as Elder Black and I say the word, there's nothing in the Lian clan that we can't do. Elder Bai said proudly. You two have such high statuses? Or do you two have higher seniority? Sima Yue couldn't help but look at the two of them. It was unbelievable that these two elders could influence the family's opinion. We are the Lian clan's patriarch's grandfather and third grandfather. They naturally have to listen to our words. Elder Bai said, Look, we've already settled Lian Hong's matter. You. Sima Yue took out a 10-centimeter tall jade bottle and said, "There's scarlet honey in here." Elder Bai and Elder Black opened the cork, and a fragrant smell wafted out. Elder Bai said excitedly, "This is the smell. I never thought that we would be able to smell this at this age." "That's right. How nostalgic." Sima Yue listened to the two of them and asked curiously, "Have you seen scarlet bees before?" Elder Black closed the bottle and said with a reminiscing expression, "Back then, Elder Bai and I went to a small world. There, we met a group of scarlet bees and obtained some scarlet honey. It's a pity that we didn't bring some scarlet bees out. Back then, we were still young and didn't know the value of scarlet bees. Otherwise, even if it was dangerous, we would have brought some out." Elder Bai continued, "Little girl, how many scarlet bees do you have?" Sima Yue looked at them and said, "A little. We'll use treasures to exchange with you. How about that?" Elder Bai said, "As long as it's within our means, we'll give it to you." As Sima Yue looked at him and thought that the Lien family must have a lot of treasures. Should she take this opportunity to extort them? However, when she thought of Lien Hong, she decided not to be so black-hearted and said, "Since you know the value of these scarlet bees, I won't say too much. Just give me something of equivalent value. Alchemy, weapon refining, array formation, beast taming, anything is fine." Elder Black thought for a while and took out 2 boxes, one big and one small. Sima Yue opened the small box. There was a weapon refining material in the small box. Since it was kept so carefully, it must be of a high grade. In the big box was a medicinal herb. It was a snow ginseng that was more than 10,000 years old. When Elder Bai saw what Elder Black took out, he also took out 2 items. One was an earth-level lightning attribute technique, and the other was an ancient pill recipe. When she saw the lightning attribute technique, Sima Yue's eyes lit up. The other 3 items were dispensable to her. But this lightning attribute technique was something she urgently needed. Now that she had lightning attribute spiritual energy in her body, she had not cultivated any spiritual techniques, and had not been able to use the lightning attribute's power. Now that she had the lightning attribute technique, she would have another lethal weapon in the future. Furthermore, this was an earth-level spiritual technique. Coupled with the lightning attribute, its power could be imagined. "What do you think of these?" Elder Black asked. "Not bad." Sima Yue kept the items and called out 100 scarlet bees. When Elder Black and Elder Black saw so many scarlet bees, they were shocked. They had thought that getting 10 or 20 scarlet bees would be good enough. They did not expect Sima Yue to be so generous and give them so many. "Haha, you're our friend from now on. When we raise these scarlet bees, let's go for a drink." Elder White laughed. Sima Yue pursed her lips. "Drink with them?" Chapter 467. When Sima Yue arrived at the courtyard that the Lien family had prepared for them, it was already the next morning. Sima Yulin smelled the alcohol on her body and frowned. "You drank?" "Yeah, I drank a little with the 2 old guys." Sima Yue said, "How's Lien Hong?" "It's already settled." Sima Yulin said, "The Lien clan has acknowledged Lien Hong's identity and called him over early in the morning. They said that they were going to write his name into the family tree." "Where's Brother Cho?" "We went together." "I'm going to rest for a while, and then we'll discuss what to do next." "Where's my room?" Sima Yulin pointed to a room for her, and she pushed the door open in a daze. The 2 old men dragged her to drink for the whole night, and changed the way they addressed her from little doll to little friend. In the end, the 2 old men were drunk, and she was able to come back. Bei Gong Tang came out from the house. Seeing her like that, she shook her head and sighed. "This girl really thinks of herself as a man. Don't you know how to control yourself? Why are you drinking like this? Go and take care of her," Sima Yulin said. Ouyang Fei stood in the corridor with his arms crossed in front of his chest. He asked, "Does this mean we don't have to go to Innumerable Green City?" "I think so," Bei Gong Tang said. "The reason we went to Innumerable Green City was to send Lien Hong to a safe place. Now that he has returned to the clan, we naturally don't have to go anymore. Then let's wait for her to wake up before we discuss what to do next," Sima Yulin said and returned to his house. When Sima Yue woke up, It was already evening. She heard Cho Xiaotian and Lian Hong's voices. She got up from the bed and saw the kettle on the table. She picked it up and drank 2 big mouthfuls before opening the door and going out. Seeing her come out, Cho Xiaotian laughed and teased. We were just talking about whether you would sleep until tomorrow. Am I really that good at sleeping? She raised her eyebrows and walked towards the pavilion. She picked up a spirit fruit and started munching on it. I heard you drank with those 2 old fellows the whole night. It didn't take long. I shook them off and came back. I can't even beat you in a 1 versus 2 situation. Are they too weak, or are you too good at drinking? Cho Xiaotian laughed. Both, Sima Yue said bluntly. But if I'm drinking with you, the innkeeper, then I'm not so sure. Then when should we drink? Forget it then. Sima Yue rubbed her brows. She was still suffering from the after effects. By the way, Lian Hong, how are things with you? Lian Hong stood up and bowed towards Sima Yue. He said gratefully, Thank you for asking Elder Bai to speak up for me. Otherwise, I'm afraid things would have been different. Some people in the family are not willing to let Lian Hong return to the family. Cho Xiaotian said. Those should be people who didn't have a good relationship with his father in the past. They said that his father had been expelled from the family, so naturally, his son was no longer a member of the family. Later on, Elder Bai came and directly said that Lian Hong should return to the family and enter the family records. Those people had nothing to say anymore. What about Lian Tian? You didn't say what you were going to do yesterday. Cho Xiaotian said. Lian Tian has always known about little Lian Zi's existence. When Lianen returned, he was the one he saw. He knew that little Lian Zi was being hunted down. But he told the family that his father was fine and had flown far away. These few years, the Fei family's movements have also been suppressed by him using his status. Then why did he capture Lian Hong? Sima Yue did not understand. Maybe it's to get the things my father left for me, Lian Hong said. Lian Tian has some connections in the family. If they want to punish him, it'll depend on what the family head says. Cho Xiaotian seemed to have thought of something. Yue, we originally wanted to send them to Innumerable Green City. Now that we're not going, are we going back? Bei Gong Tang asked. We're not going. We'll go back in 2 days. Sima Yue said. Little Peng's situation is more urgent. Furthermore, we still have to go to Central State. Since Lian Hong has already returned to the family, we're just wasting time here. You're leaving? Lian Hong asked in shock. We originally came here to send you off. Now that you're safe, we naturally have to go back. Little Lian Zi, once you've settled down, Master will also be leaving. Cho Xiaotian suddenly said. Master, you're leaving too? I was originally a disciple of a sect in Central State. I've already left for tens of years. It's time for me to go back and take a look. Cho Xiaotian said with some regret. Lian Hong also knew how much Cho Xiaotian had sacrificed for him. Tens of years of protection was not something that could be expressed with just a few words. Just as they were chatting, a 4-winged roc walked in. Young master, what's wrong? Wang Gang just sent someone to deliver news. The 4-winged roc paused for a moment and looked at Lian Hong and the others. Little Peng? What news? Another 4-winged roc walked over and said to Sima Yue, Young master, this subordinate is Honor Rock. Not long after young master left, we received urgent news that the Goshawk King and the Fei family had colluded to deal with us and the Lian family. It's said that the Goshawk clan has already left and are preparing to take action against the Lian family? Sima Yue was shocked. Is the news confirmed? Confirmed, Honor Rock said with certainty. Everyone's expression became very serious. The news about the Lian family had always been selectively concealed by Lian Tian. They were not on guard. If the Goshawk clan joined in, the Lian family's situation could be imagined. I'll go tell the family head. Lian Hong stood up and was about to leave. Don't be in such a hurry. Cho Xiaotian pulled Lian Hong back. Let's hear what Yue has to say. Did little Peng say anything? Sima Yue asked. After the king heard the news, he sent me to inform young master. He also sent some people over. They're all gathered outside the city, and will listen to young master's arrangements. If you want to cooperate with the Lien family, they will listen to young master's arrangements unconditionally. If young master doesn't want to cooperate with the Lien family, then these people will protect young master. The four-winged roc replied. Sima Yu's heart warmed. When little Peng heard the news, he was probably worried to death. He couldn't come himself, so he could only send people to protect her. The Fei family and the Goshawk clan are colluding together. Sima Yu's fingers lightly tapped on the table. Those who knew her well knew what she was scheming. This Goshawk clan is really annoying. They want to ally with the Fei family to deal with little Peng. If we ally with the Lien family and eliminate some of their strength, then it will be easier for us to deal with them later. Yue. Lien Hong looked at her expectantly. Sima Yue stood up and said, Let's go. We'll formally greet the Lien family head. After a while, the guard at the door of Lien Zhu's study came in and said, Family head, the four-winged roc's young master in general honor request an audience. Lien Zhu's eyes flashed with confusion. When did the four-winged roc clan have a young master? Chapter 468. The young master of the four-winged rocs, General Hirong? Please come in. Lien Zhao was puzzled, but his reaction was not slow. Yes. The guard went out and quickly led the two in. When Lien Ku saw Sima Yue, she cried out in surprise. It's you? Sima Yue smiled and cupped her hands at him, saying, Thank you for your hospitality, Master Lien. So you're the young master of the four-winged roc clan. What a surprise. Lien Zhu waved his hand. Young Master Sima, General Rong, please sit. Sima Yue and General Rong walked to the side and sat down. I have long heard of the four great generals of the four-winged rocs. It is my honor to meet one of them, General Rong. Honor Rock nodded his head and said faintly, Patriarch Lien is too kind. Honor Rock originally looked more resolute. He gave people the impression that he was an ice-cold handsome man. In addition to the arrogance of the four-winged rocs, he gave people a feeling of arrogance. Lien Zhu was not angry at Honor Rock's attitude. Everyone knew about the arrogant temperament of the four-winged roc. May I know why General Rong is looking for me? Honor Rock looked at Sima Yue and said, I was ordered to protect young master. Lien Zhu was even more surprised. The four generals of the four-winged rocs were very famous among both humans and beastmen. Not to mention protecting a human, they weren't even willing to come in contact with a human. Now, he actually said that he was here to protect Sima Yue. Looking at his expression, it was obvious that he only cared about her. This was too shocking. Young Master Sima, are you looking for me? Sima Yue picked up the teacup that a maidservant had served to her, saying, I heard that Lien Tian was the one who handled all the news regarding the Fei family. Lien Zhu thought that Sima Yue was concerned about Lien Hong, so he said, Lien Tian was wrong to hide Lien Hong's information, but we haven't discussed how to deal with this. Patriarch Lien, you've misunderstood. I'm not here to talk to you about Lien Hong. Sima Yue interrupted her. I'm here to talk about the Fei clan. About the Fei clan? That's right. Sima Yue paused and said, I heard that the Lien family and the Fei family have been at odds for a long time. Back then, Lien Hong's father abducted a young lady from the Fei family, causing the Fei family to chase after him. In the end, Lien Hong and the rest could only hide. Young Master Sima is right. We have a long history with the Fei clan. But what does this have to do with young Master Sima? Lien Zhu looked at Sima Yue. Young Master Sima, are you thinking of acting as a mediator between our families? Sima Yue shook her head and said, We also have an irreconcilable conflict with the Fei family. I was previously on their bounty list. Then you're. Today, I'm here to inform Patriarch Lien that Fei Xie and the Goshawk clan have colluded and are preparing to attack the Lien family. Secondly, I'm here to discuss with you the possibility of the four-winged rocs cooperating with the Lien family. Sima Yue said. Lien Zhu stood up in shock when he heard this. Is this true? Patriarch Lien, you can ask the people in charge of investigating. Although they have reported the news to Lien Tian, it won't take much time for you to investigate. Sima Yue said calmly. Men. An hour later, all the elders of the Lien family gathered in the meeting hall. When they heard that the Lien family was about to invade, they were all shocked. When they heard that Sima Yue was representing the four-winged rocks to discuss cooperation with them, and that there were many four-winged rocks outside the city, they were even more shocked. Would the four-winged rocks cooperate with humans? They suspected that Sima Yue's words could not represent the four-winged rocks. But after Honor Rock said that Sima Yue's words could represent them, they stopped doubting her. You have a grudge with the Fei family, and we want to clean up the Goshawk clan. Since they are colluding with each other, our current goals are the same. Sima Yue said, Patriarch Lien, do you think the cooperation is feasible? From the news we just received from the Fei family, we don't know much about their strength. Now that they are colluding with the Goshawk clan, it is indeed a headache. An elder said, That's right, if they want to deal with us, it will be difficult for us to resist. Another elder said, If we can cooperate with the four-winged rocks, the pressure on us will be lessened. But the cooperation between the two clans is such an important matter. Can a human like you really make the decision? Sima Yue smiled and said, I can't make important or long-term decisions, but I can cooperate with you for a short term. Short term? That's right. Sima Yue said, There is a team of four-winged rocks outside the city. I can't guarantee anything else, but those outside the city listen to my orders. We can help you get through this matter. Since it's a cooperation, you won't help us for free, right? An elder said. Of course, I have my own conditions. Sima Yue said. My request is simple. I want those goshawks to never return. That's not a problem. That's good. General Honor will tell you the specific strength of the team outside the city later and discuss the battle plan with you. When Honor Rock heard Sima Yue say this, he thought that what King said was true. Before he came here, Little Rock told him that his master liked to be a hands-off boss. So no matter what decision she made, he would have to put in a lot of effort. Previously, he thought that Little Rock was just being humble, but now it seemed that he was just stating facts. However, even if Little Rock didn't say anything, as Crimson Flame's contracted master, they couldn't reject her words. Moreover, she was doing this for the four-winged rocks, for King's safety. Sima Yue didn't participate in the discussion later on. She didn't understand the strength of the Lien clan and the four-winged rocks. So if she were to make decisions, she would only be giving orders blindly. She left the meeting room and saw Lien Hong and Huan Anayan's anxious figures, as well as a man she didn't recognize. Yue, little friend, what's the situation inside? Huan Anan asked anxiously. She knew that this matter was mainly because of Lien Tian. He hid a lot of information about the Fei clan, which caused the Lien clan to be in such a passive state. She didn't know if the clan would blame them. The Lien clan has decided to cooperate with the four-winged rocks, so this matter shouldn't be a problem. Sima Yue comforted. She glanced at the unfamiliar man. His aura was similar to Lien Ju's, but he was more powerful. This person had such an aura, but he didn't enter the meeting room to discuss matters. Where did he come from? Chapter 469. Hearing that the four-winged rock would cooperate with the Lien family, Huan Anan finally relaxed. Seeing Sima Yue looking at her sons, she said, Let me introduce you. This is my second son Lien Zhe, and this is Sima Yue. The innumerable green palaces soaring cloud palace's palace master? Sima Yue asked in surprise. That's me. I heard that you saved my elder brother's son. Thank you. Lien Zhe cupped his fists. Sima Yue did not expect Lien Zhe to become the soaring cloud palace master at such a young age. She guessed that he was either talented or capable. Palace Master Lien is too polite. She smiled and said, Why didn't you go inside to discuss matters? I can't go in. Lien Zhe said, I am now the Palace Master of the Innumerable Green Palace. According to the rules of the Innumerable Green Palace, as long as one returned under their own name, they could not use the name of the sect to do things. If I want to interfere with the family's affairs, I have to go back to the sect and apply to the Hall Master. Was this to prevent disciples from using the name of the sect to do bad things? But this was too inhumane. However, this had little to do with her, so she didn't continue to pay attention to it. Temple Master Lien, I have something to ask you. Is it convenient for you? As long as I can answer it for you, it's fine. Lianze replied. Subconsciously, he meant that he couldn't answer for you. Even if you asked, he wouldn't tell you. How could Sima Yue not understand what he meant? She smiled and said, I'm sure you can answer my questions. Actually, I just want to ask, if we want to go to the central region, do we have to use the teleportation formation of the innumerable green palace? Not necessarily, Lianze said. Actually, there are many sects in a prefecture that have teleportation arrays that can connect to other prefectures. It's just that the innumerable green palace is relatively closer, and its teleportation array is the largest and most stable. Then what are the conditions, if I want to use the teleportation array? No need, you just need to pay a certain amount of crystal stones. Lianze said. If you want to use the teleportation array, I can give it to you for free, and there's no need to line up. Line up? Because there are too many people who want to go outside. You have to queue up at least half a month in advance. If you go there directly, you can't leave, Lianze explained. I see. Sima Yue said. Then we might have to trouble Palace Master Lian. Sure. I still have some things to do, so I'll go back first. Sima Yue said as she bowed to Huananin and Lianze and left. When he returned to the courtyard, they were still in the pavilion. Seeing her return, Lian Hong asked, How was it? Honor Rock stayed behind to discuss the details with them. Sima Yue walked over and said, You don't have to worry now. Thank you very much, Lian Hong said gratefully. Then we're not going back now? Bei Gong Tang asked. Well, we'll go back after this matter is over. Sima Yue said. We don't know their exact situation yet. Let's talk about it after the discussion. All right. In the remaining time, everyone was cultivating and stabilizing their cultivation. Sima Yue gave everyone a rare crystal, so everyone went into closed-door cultivation for a while. After the discussion about the cooperation was done, Honor Rock reported the results to Sima Yue. When Sima Yue asked what they needed to do, Honor Rock only said that he hoped that the young master could take care of himself and not get hurt. Sima Yue thought about it. They were too weak now, so they really couldn't help much. If they went to the front lines to fight, they might be killed immediately. They would just be a burden to everyone. It was better to stay in the Lian clan and let them deal with it. When she thought about this, she couldn't help but sigh. Strength, she was really too weak now. It was no wonder that the people in the restless continent didn't dare to come up here, even when they reached the divine rank. If they didn't have the opportunity to enter a sect, as a lone cultivator, it would be very dangerous to walk around the primordial lands. It looked like their main task now was to cultivate. It wasn't just her. Sima Yulin, Bei Gong Tang, and the others realized this as well. That was why everyone worked hard to cultivate, wanting to increase their strength as soon as possible. In less than half a month, the Fei clan and the Goshawk clan came to attack the Lian clan. Honor Rock left 2 clansmen to protect Sima Yue and brought the others to join the battle. Although the Fei clan and the Goshawk clan were well prepared, they didn't think that the Lian clan would receive the news in advance. They also didn't think that the 4-winged rocks would cooperate with the Lian clan and ambush them outside the city. That was why both sides fell into a bitter battle. That day, the Lian clan activated their protective array, and the entire residence was covered in a faint ripple. Sima Yue and the others stood in the courtyard and heard the sounds of fighting coming from outside. Seeing the various spirit skills that were as dazzling as fireworks, their thirst for strength grew even stronger. The battle lasted for 2 whole days. When Lian Hong received the news, he would come and tell them. From him, they found out that the Lian clan had the upper hand from the very beginning. The Fei clan and the Goshawk clan didn't gain any advantages. Apart from a few people who tore through the void and left, the rest of them died here. Once the protective array was activated, Sima Yue and the others ran out and got the 2 4-winged rocks to bring them to the scene outside the city. It was a scene of devastation. The original mountain was gone and had turned into a pile of rocks. The originally flat area had become bumpy and full of scars left behind by the battle. She found Honor Rock first. Although his body was covered in blood, he was still in good spirits. It was obvious that the blood wasn't his. When he saw Sima Yue and the others coming over, he nodded. "Young master. How are the casualties?" Sima Yue asked. "Four clansmen died and many were injured. Fortunately, young master prepared some pills. Many of them who were close to death were saved," Honor Rock said. "What about the Goshawk clan? Aside from the 2 team leaders, the others are all here." Honor Rock pointed to the corpses on the ground. Sima Yue was satisfied with the results. Looking at the goshawk corpses, she said, "Should we take some back to cook? Bird meat is delicious, especially roasted birds. It tastes great." "Let's not." Sima Yulin looked at the mountain of corpses and felt a little reluctant to eat. "Of course, why not?" Sima Yue said. "Those are spirit beasts. Don't you know that there is a benefit to eating spirit beasts?" "What benefit?" "Spirit beasts are rich in spirit energy. When we eat their meat, we can directly absorb their spirit energy into our own. This is much faster than eating spirit fruits and vegetables. Furthermore, these birds can be fried, braised, stewed, and barbecued. Every way is delicious." Sima Yue said. In her past life, she had eaten many spirit beasts in the inner regions. She knew about this long ago. The 4-winged rocks that they were sitting on couldn't help but shiver. Why did he think of himself when she said those things? "Then let's do it," Ouyang Fei said. As such, under Sima Yue's instructions, the 4-winged rocks brought them around the battlefield to look for intact goshawk corpses. Chapter 470. The Fei clan and the Goshawk clan had both suffered heavy losses in this battle. They wouldn't dare to attack the Lian clan for the time being. Moreover, Little Rock and the others cooperated with the battle here. When the Goshawks mobilized many of their clansmen to the Lian family, Little Rock brought the 4-winged rocks and a few other bird clans to raid the Goshawk clan's old nest. Goshawk King didn't expect Little Rock to act so quickly. In a short period of time, he had contacted several bird clans, catching them off guard. His original plan was to help the Fei family first before contacting his subordinates to overthrow Little Rock. Therefore, when Little Rock brought his people to destroy them, the difference in strength between the two sides was too great. It became a battle without any suspense. Once the Goshawk clan was defeated, the few bird clans that the Goshawk King had contacted before no longer dared to have any thoughts of resistance. They all came to pay their respects to Little Rock and bowed their heads to him. The matter that he thought would take a long time was resolved just like that. A few days later, Sima Yue received the news. At that time, she was roasting bird meat. When she heard Honor Rock's report, she stared blankly for a moment. Then she smiled happily and said, "Come, let's have an extra meal today. Let's eat a bird feast." "Then we're in for a treat today," Cho Xiaotian said cheerfully. After eating Sima Yue's dishes 2 days ago, he felt that all the food he had eaten in the past was wasted. This was what it meant to be delicious. Now that he heard Sima Yue talking about eating an all-bird banquet, he started drooling. When Honor Rock and the other 2 4-winged rocks first ate the goshawk meat, they felt a bit awkward. However, after tasting 2 mouthfuls, they fell in love with the taste and the feeling of a weak spirit force flowing through their bodies. Therefore, when they heard that there was an all-bird feast, they only felt uncomfortable for a while before joining the team. The bird feast was ready, and everyone couldn't wait to dig in. Ouyang Fei gnawed on a 10th of the bird leg and said contentedly, "If Fatty and the others knew that we ate such delicious food, they would probably beat their chests and stomp their feet for a while." "I think so too." Bei Gong Tang thought of Fatty Chu beating his chest and stamping his feet, and laughed. Cho Xiaotian and the others were fighting over the food happily. In the future, when he returned to the central region, he might not be able to eat such delicious food. Sounds of people fighting over food and laughter could be heard in the courtyard, making the guards and maidservants envious. 2 days later, Sima Yue and the others bid farewell to the Lian clan. They found an open space outside the city and spent a day setting up a one-time use teleportation array. Just as everyone stood in the teleportation array and was about to inject their spiritual energy to activate the array, Sima Yue heard something. Her hand paused, and the spiritual energy that she had just gathered dissipated. What's wrong? Beigong Tang asked. Sima Yue walked out of the array and said, We don't have to leave. Little Rock and the rest have already reached Tai City. After everyone came out of the array, Sima Yue collected the materials for setting up the array. It took an entire day to set it up, but only half an hour to put it away. She had just finished tidying up when Little Rock brought Sima Lai and the others over. Master, fifth brother, Yue, Beigong. When they saw Sima Yue and the others, Fatty Chu waved at them from Little Rock's back. Once everyone came down, Little Rock transformed into a little golden bird and pounced on Sima Yue. Master, Little Rock missed you so much. You're already the king of rocks, yet you're still acting like a spoiled child. Sima Yue stretched out a hand and flicked Little Rock's head. Little Rock thought of his own identity and turned back to look at the four-winged rocks who had followed them. He sighed in his heart and got off Sima Yue's back and transformed into his human form. What are you all doing here? Sima Yue asked when she saw that everyone had come. The main thing has already been settled. The remaining things have been handed over to Wind Rock and the others to settle. Little Rock wanted to be the king and said that he wanted to return to your side. So we followed along. Sima Yue explained. You're not going back? Beigong Tang asked in surprise. We're not going back. Little Rock said. I've already gotten Wind Rock and the other two elders to settle those things. I didn't really like it in the first place, so it's better to roam the world with Master. Then what about them? Sima Yue asked Ninth Rock and the others who had followed along. Mother and the elders said that my identity was noble. Since I wanted to leave, they had to send people to protect me. Mother brought them along. Little Rock said helplessly. I thought that it wouldn't be a problem to just throw them into the spirit pagoda. So I agreed. Master, don't worry. They already have a subordinate contract with me. They will definitely spread the news of the spirit pagoda. Sima Yue understood that with Little Rock's identity, he would definitely be targeted by the other clans. He would still need someone to protect him when he left the clan. Furthermore, she was weak now. It would be best if there was someone to protect him. Since that's the case, you can bring them into the spirit pagoda. Sima Yue said as she brought everyone into the spirit pagoda. Ninth Rock and the tens of transformed rocks who had followed along were all of high ranks and could be considered to have seen a lot. Even so, they were still shocked by the sudden change in scenery. Little Rock immediately went to explain to them that this was where they would be living in the future. He then brought them around for a tour. At a mountain peak not far from the living area, Ninth Rock and the others saw Crimson Flame. The tens of them hurried over to greet him. Crimson Flame knew that they were here to protect Little Rock and would be living here in the future. He nodded lightly and did not say anything. He closed his eyes and continued to cultivate. Ever since Sima Yue was injured by Wind Rock, he did not enter deep slumber to recover. Instead, he cultivated in the spirit pagoda in case something like the last time happened again. Sima Yue and Sima Lai and the others rested together. They talked to each other about what happened after they separated. After that, they decided to let Fatty Chu and the others continue to stay in the spirit pagoda, so that others would think that they did not come. Brother Yue, last time a bird king said that it smelled a familiar scent on me. Little Tu said. It said that I might be related to a spirit clan in the central region. Sima Yue was stunned. She thought of the spirit beast bloodline in Little Tu's body and asked, Do you know what race it is? Golden-eyed ape. The spirit beast bloodline in Little Tu's body was actually the golden-eyed ape? Sima Yue was incomparably shocked. This was because the golden-eyed ape was a descendant of an ancient spirit beast. Its status among the spirit beasts was comparable to the phoenix race. In the central region, no one dared to provoke it. Furthermore, they were extremely repulsive towards humans. How could they have children with humans, and even wander to the Elin continent to form a clan? If they knew of Little Tu's existence, who knew what kind of reaction they would have? However, she guessed that the possibility of them not acknowledging him was higher. Furthermore, with their arrogant temperament, they would probably kill Little Tu to erase the stain of their race. She had already made up her mind. As long as she was not sure of the golden-eyed ape's attitude, she would not let Little Tu come into contact with them. Chapter 471. Sima Yue stayed in the spirit pagoda for half a day before bringing Sima Yulin, Bei Gong Tang, and Ouyang Fei out. The others stayed in the spirit pagoda to cultivate. They returned to the Lian clan, and were surprised to see them return. When they found out that they were looking for Lian Zhe, they said that he had left the Lian clan to return to the innumerable Green Palace, not long after Yu left. Chou Xiaotian and Lian Hong were with him. Chou Xiaotian was going to the innumerable Green Palace to use the teleportation array to return to Central Province. Lian Hong was going to follow Lian Zhe to the innumerable Green Palace to cultivate and become a disciple. Without a choice, they could only go to the city lord's residence and use the teleportation array to rush to the innumerable Green City. Because Lian Zhu was personally bringing them over, there was no need to queue. He immediately arranged a teleportation array for Yu Yu and the others. Before they left, Lian Zhu expressed his wish to visit the Lian clan in Grand City in the future. The teleportation array was activated, and the four of them quickly disappeared from everyone's sight. The city lord rushed over after receiving the news, and only saw the light of the teleportation array after Sima Yue and the others left. Old Lian, you came personally to send them off. Who is that? The city lord asked curiously. The person who helped my Lian clan get through this crisis will definitely be someone who will cause the primordial lands to tremble. Lian Zhu sighed as he walked out. Is he really that powerful? Hey old Lian, tell me. The city lord of Grand City said as he chased after him. When Yu Yu and the others reached the innumerable Green City, Lian Zhe and the others had already returned to the innumerable Green Palace. They could only find an inn to stay in. While Sima Yue was resting, Bei Gong Tang and the others went outside to scout for news. When they came back, they told her that the innumerable Green Palace was heavily guarded. It would be troublesome to look for Lian Zhe. However, the teleportation array was not very strict. As long as they paid, they could go and queue up. Bei Gong Tang and the others went to pay 100 middle-ranked crystals and received a number plate. The date on it was actually 20 days from now. As a result, they had to stay here for 20 days. They were not in a rush, so they did not mind waiting. After sleeping for 2 days, Yu dragged the three of them to walk around the streets. She heard that there was good food here and wanted to try it, so she asked for directions. They were lucky and happened to come across the last private room. It was said that someone had booked it before but didn't want it, so it had just been vacated. Yue, look, there's also a Xian Yuan pavilion here. It looks rather stylish from the outside, Bei Gong Tang said as she looked at the shop across the street. The waiter happened to be serving them tea. Hearing her sigh, he said, This Xian Yuan pavilion was opened by people from the central regions. They have a strong foundation. Their status was even higher than that of the innumerable Green Palace. It was just that they kept a lower profile. There are a lot of things there. If you have time, you can take a look around. Especially the auction venue, it's very impressive. How do you know we haven't been there? Yue took a sip of the tea. The tea was not bad. You all look unfamiliar, and you're sighing over the Xian Yuan pavilion. This isn't the first time we've encountered such a situation. I can tell at a glance that you're new to innumerable Green City. The waiter said, Your tea is ready. Please enjoy. The food will be served soon. If there's nothing else, I'll take my leave. If you need anything, just pull this bell. He pointed to a bell behind the door and then left. Yue continued to look at the people going in and out of the Xian Yuan pavilion, saying, No wonder the Xian Yuan pavilion below is more impressive than the royal family. It turns out that they have this kind of background. I don't know what's the difference between the Xian Yuan pavilion above and below. Anyway, we have nothing to do. Why don't we take a look after we're done eating? Bei Gong Tang said. Okay. Sima Yue nodded. I wonder if your card is useful up there. Ouyang Fei was more curious about this. It shouldn't be. The difference between the people below and the people above is too big. The standards should be different. Bei Gong Tang guessed. We'll know if we can go or not. Sima Yue said with a smile. She was not curious about this at all. There was a knock on the door. A waiter said that he was here to serve the food. After receiving a response, he came in and said, Dear guests, we've served the food. There were 5 or 6 people behind him. Each of them carried a tray in and placed the dishes on the table before leaving one after another. "Dear guests, your dishes have been served. Please enjoy." The waiter left after speaking and closed the door behind him. For people, 7 dishes. In the past, it did not seem like much. However, in a restaurant like this, it was a little extravagant. Bei Gong Tang tasted it and said, "The taste is not bad. It's not a waste of the price. The cooking method is a little special. I've never eaten this before." Ouyang Fei said, "It's really good." Sima Yulin agreed. "Yu, why aren't you eating?" Bei Gong Tang asked when she saw Sima Yue staring at the dishes in a daze. Sima Yue smiled and said, "It's nothing. Since it's delicious, I'll eat more. I don't usually get to eat this kind of thing." After speaking, she lowered her head and picked up a spirit chicken wing and began to eat. What a familiar taste. Someone had once said, Yu, since you like to eat so much, how about I make 2 dishes for you in the future?" After a long time, that person ran over excitedly with a dish. Honey-glazed chicken wings. She had eaten a lot of it on Earth, but it was her first time eating it in this world. Just now, when they were ordering, they only said 7 signature dishes. Who would have thought that one of them would be honey-glazed chicken wings? So many years had passed. Was that person still well? Would he be sad when he found out about her death? Thinking about the past, she did not know whether she was eating the chicken wings or her past memories. "What did you say? Our private room has been used by others?" A spoiled female voice came from outside. It seemed to be coming towards Yu's room. "Young Miss Xia, I'm really sorry. You sent someone to say that the private room was cancelled, so we gave it to other guests. Now that the guests are eating inside, we can't go in and disturb them." The waiter's voice sounded humble, but Sima Yue did not hear any fear. "We thought that something happened, so we sent someone to say that the private room was cancelled. However, nothing happened to us in the end, so we naturally have to use the private room." The lady said, "Young Miss Xia, how about this? How about I arrange another private room for you? This is the private room that we just vacated." "No, I want this room. You know that I only like this room. I don't want anything else." The lady said, "That's right. You know that junior sister Xia only booked this private room every time she came. Why did you arrange another one?" A man echoed, "We're going to eat in this private room today. You can ask those people to leave." "I'm afraid that's not good." "What's not good about it? Do you want to offend us?" Sima Yue frowned and put down the chopsticks in her hand. She could not stop the cold air from seeping out of her body. Chapter 472. Bang! The door opened and 3 men and a woman walked in. When they saw Sima Yue and the rest, they said, "We want this private room. Leave quickly." Sima Yue sneered and said, "This is our private room. Why do we have to leave? You dare to talk back?" The man in white looked at Sima Yue. "Do you know who we are? You'd better leave before our patience runs out. Otherwise, you'll have to bear the consequences. Hurry up and leave. We'll pay for this meal. Hurry up and leave. We didn't order much, so we don't have to take everything." Sima Yue said, "If you really want this private room, then wait outside. We'll give it to you when we're done." "What did you say?" Those people heard her words and shouted. No one had ever dared to talk to them like this. "Do you know who we are? How dare you be so rude?" A blue-clothed man said with a dark expression. Sima Yue glanced at them and saw the insignia on their clothes. She said calmly, "Aren't you guys from the innumerable Green Palace? Why? Do you think the people from the innumerable Green Palace can be unreasonable and bully others?" Her voice was very soft, but it gave people the feeling that she was looking down on them from a high position. The sarcasm in her words was obvious. "You guys forcefully used our private room. We're just here to seek justice," said the only woman on the other side. "Miss, your ability to distort black and white is really good. I just don't know if you're also like this when you're cultivating." Sima Yue did not even look at her. She said to the waiter, "Is your boss here?" "Our manager is downstairs," the waiter replied. "I'm asking Chinemo," Sima Yue said. When the waiter heard Sima Yue's words, his expression changed slightly. However, he quickly regained his composure and said, I don't know about this either. You'll have to ask the shopkeeper. Then go and call the shopkeeper up. Sir, please wait a moment. The waiter winked at the people outside the door, and someone immediately went downstairs. Sima Yue finished the juice in the glass and spun the glass in her hand. The shape of this cup was similar to the ones on Earth. He had once made some as a gift, and that person copied them and used them in the restaurant. Because it was cute, it was borrowed by others. Therefore, when she first saw this, she didn't pay much attention to it. Thinking about the past, the cup slipped from his hand and rolled onto the table, revealing the name of the restaurant at the bottom. Memory Restaurant. She gently stroked those 3 words with her fingertips. She felt her nose sour, and her eyes reddened slightly. Sima Yulin, Bei Gong Tang, and the others didn't know what was going on with her. She was only like this when she advanced to the divine rank. They still remembered the sorrowful aura she had exuded at that time. Hey, we asked you to leave, did you hear us? Xia Yingying scolded loudly when she saw that Sima Yue and the rest were ignoring her, and even spacing out. Sima Yue looked at her coldly, saying, "We're not in the mood to care about you. If you don't want to lose face, leave quickly. We don't believe that there's someone who doesn't give us face." The white-robed man said, "I'll give you 3 seconds. If you don't leave, we'll attack. 3, 2, 1. After the 3 counts, Sima Yue and the rest still didn't move. The white-robed man rolled up his sleeves and walked towards them. Bang dash! Sima Yulin sent him flying with a kick. The other 2 men saw that Sima Yulin had attacked and shouted, "You dare to hurt our innumerable Green Palace's disciple. You're looking to die." The 2 of them took out their weapons and were about to attack when suddenly, a strong aura enveloped the entire room. The 2 men's spirit energy dissipated. "Stop! Stop!" The innkeeper came in from outside, and the aura disappeared. The people in the room regained their freedom. "What are you doing?" The innkeeper looked at Xia Yingying and the others and scolded them. Memory Restaurant's rules state clearly that you cannot use spirit energy in the restaurant. Are you looking down on our rules? Xia Yingying and the others looked at the innkeeper and felt their hair stand on end. However, they were all disciples of the innumerable Green Palace and had never been treated like this before. Their temper flared up as they said, "Innkeeper, what do you mean by this? We've been beaten up in your place, and you're still protecting them? Are you looking down on our innumerable Green Palace?" When the innkeeper heard what she said, his expression turned ugly as he said, "Our rules are not broken even by your innumerable Green Palace." "Innkeeper, you sure talk big," Xia Yingying said angrily. "My innumerable Green Palace is a great sect. Your Memory Restaurant has only been open for 10 years. How dare you compare to us? For a restaurant like yours, even if we destroy it today, you can only watch." "Innumerable Green Palace, you sure talk big. Then let's see if you can destroy us today." The innkeeper sneered. "Although we've only been open for 10 years, we came from the central regions. If you want to destroy us, then show me what you've got. I know you're the daughter of a palace master. However, you don't have the right to destroy us. Go back and call your father. Send our guests out." The innkeeper waved his hand, and 2 divine sect members suddenly appeared. He said to Xia Yingying and the others, "Are you going to leave on your own, or do you want us to throw you out?" Facing 2 divine sect members, no matter how unwilling they were, Xia Yingying and the others could only leave in anger. If they were thrown out, then they'd lose a lot of face. Sima Yue didn't think that the innkeeper would immediately chase Xia Yingying and the others away. It seemed like they didn't submit to the innumerable Green Palace's name. The innkeeper waited for Xia Yingying and the others to leave before turning around and cupping his hands towards Sima Yue and the others. He smiled and asked, "Is there something you need from me? I wanted to ask if your boss, Qin Mo, is currently in the outer regions?" Sima Yue asked. The innkeeper was also stunned. The boy asked, "Does young master know my boss?" "We're friends," Sima Yue said. "So I wanted to ask if he's here so that I can pay him a visit." "I'm really sorry. Boss usually doesn't come here. He's only come here twice these past few years," the innkeeper said. "So it's like that?" Sima Yue said a little dejectedly. Then she laughed at herself. If he was really here, Did she really have to go and meet him? Yue, what's wrong? Bei Gongtang couldn't help but ask when she saw Sima Yue like this. Nothing. Sima Yue shook her head. Then she said to the innkeeper, we're fine. Then we'll take our leave first. The innkeeper looked at Sima Yue suspiciously. He waved his hand at the waiter, and the two of them left together. Half an hour later, they paid the bill and left. The waiter came up to clear the table. When he saw the watermark on Sima Yue's seat, he hurriedly called the innkeeper over. When the innkeeper saw the watermark, he cried out in shock. This isn't this. Quick, quick, go and report this to the central regions. Chapter 473. Sima Yue did not know that the picture she drew with water had caused such a huge commotion after she left. She had drawn it by accident when she was reminded of her past life. At this time, the four had already left the restaurant and went to the Xianyuan pavilion. As soon as they entered, they were immediately served by the shop assistant. The shop assistant took them around the upper and lower floors. In the end, they only chose some materials for engraving one-time arrays. Ouyang and Beigong chose 2 herbs for alchemy. That's a total of 1,000 mid-grade crystals, the clerk said after settling the bill. Sima Yue felt the pinch. In the past, she had been using the array stones prepared by the Sima family. She had never bought it herself. Now she felt that the array stones were really expensive. May I ask if the crystal card obtained from the continent below is useful here? The clerk was taken aback and said, that depends on what card it is. Can you show me your card? Sima Yue took out the blue card. The shop assistant took it and looked at it, saying, the blue card is the highest grade card in the lower continent, but it is the lowest grade card here. However, we can still give you a 5% discount. Let's settle the bill then. Sima Yue said as she took out another crystal card. He didn't think that the card could still be used here, but the level drop was quite severe. That's a total of 950 mid-grade crystals. Please wait a moment. The clerk took the crystal card and the blue card and went to make the payment. When the person in charge saw the card, he said in astonishment, this card is a Yilin Continent membership card. Everyone in the house looked over and said curiously, how many years has it been since someone came to the Yilin Continent? Now that someone has come up, it's really strange. People who come from the Yilin Continent usually don't do well. This person can still come here to buy things. Looks like he's doing pretty well. Didn't Little Miss and Little Young Master go to the Yilin Continent a few years ago? I think they came back a few years ago. I've been back for a few years. I heard that they recently left the Central Region and went to the Central Region to host the auction next month. Young Miss and Young Master are both quite capable. In the future, they will most likely take over our Xianyuan pavilion. Not necessarily. Didn't they say that there are 2 other young masters competing with them? Hee. If they can successfully hold the auction in the Central Region, then this matter will be different. Even if those people want to, there's nothing they can do. The person who spoke first took out the spirit stones from the crystal card and handed them to the shop assistant. All right, quickly take them out for the customer. Okay. The shop assistant took the crystal card and the membership card and went out. Sima Yue and the others waited for a while before the shop assistant came out. She wrapped up the crystal and blue cards, as well as the items they bought, and handed them to them, saying, please take them. Sima Yue kept the items in her space ring, and the 4 of them left. They were about to return to the inn when they were stopped by someone. Stop. Sima Yue looked at the person who was blocking her and said, move aside. Xia Yingying crossed her arms in front of her chest and stood in the middle of the men. Move aside? You beat up my innumerable Green Palace's men, and now you want us to move aside? This was originally a bustling street. When the surrounding people heard this, they all looked over curiously. There were actually people who dared to beat up the innumerable Green Palace's men? Their guts were too big. You're talking about how you wanted to snatch our private room and were thrown out of Memory Restaurant. Sima Yue looked up and explained the situation clearly in 2 sentences. The surrounding people immediately understood. These people had tried to snatch someone else's private room and were beaten up and thrown out of the restaurant. Xia Yingying's expression changed, saying, "You still dare to speak nonsense? Men, capture these four and bring them back to me." Yes, young Mississippi, the 8 of them surrounded her. It was obvious that they were the helpers she had just found. "If you're not afraid of losing face, then we'll help you." Sima Yue took out Ling Long, which had turned into a whip. Bei Gong Tang and the other 2 also took out their weapons and waited. Out of the 8 people, 6 were divine kings and 2 were divine kings in the middle. With the strength of the 4 of them, it would be difficult to fight them. "Do you think that we'll be beaten up by you here? Beat them up first, then capture them back," Xia Yingying ordered. Sima Yue did not wait for the other party to make a move. She wrapped her whip around one of the people's neck and swung it forcefully. That person was thrown out and landed heavily on the ground. Bei Gong Tang and the others also moved and attacked the people closest to them. These few years, they had trained their bodies with Sima Yue and learned how to fight in close quarters. When fighting with so many people, choosing to fight in close quarters was the most advantageous. They could get rid of 4 people before they could prepare. Now they only needed to deal with the remaining 4 people. Now there were only 2 divine kings in the middle and 2 divine kings in the beginning. They were slightly higher ranked than them, but it was not difficult to deal with them. This was because Bei Gong Tang and the other 2 all had the ability to fight above their ranks. Fights like this were very common here. In this kind of place, the buildings all had automatic defense arrays. Once someone started fighting, the arrays would automatically activate and protect the buildings from being damaged. Sima Yue's whip was like a gust of wind. Every time it hit someone, it would burn their clothes. The other party had no choice but to divert part of their attention to defend. Just as Sima Yue was about to defeat the other party, a leopard formed from spiritual energy pounced towards her. She had no choice but to change the direction of her whip. She gave up on her opponent and attacked the leopard formed from spiritual energy. "Don't be so arrogant. Watch how we deal with you," the black-clothed man from the restaurant said. He was also a divine king in the middle. When he saw that the people he called were unable to deal with Sima Yue and the others, he personally took action. This was a battle between spirit masters. Before they used their spiritual energy, their battle power was not high. However, once they used their spiritual techniques, it would be troublesome to deal with them. Furthermore, this leopard was of the metal attribute. It looked like an iron leopard. Normal attacks were completely useless. Sima Yue was rather surprised by this iron leopard. Most of the time, metal attribute spirit skills would transform into weapons. This spirit beast transformation was rather rare. However, this kind of spirit beast transformation was much better than a weapon transformation. This was because spirit beasts would have a little more awareness to attack. The flames on the whip could only leave a mark on the leopard's body. It could not melt it. Roar dash, the leopard pounced towards her. She leaned back and dodged it. However, a ball of flames attacked her from the other side. She spun twice to the side to dodge it. At the same time, she threw the whip in her hand over. It just happened to wrap around the leopard's neck. Roar dash, the leopard stretched out its claws, wanting to break the whip. However, how could it break Ling Long? Sima Yue saw that normal flames were useless against the leopard. She secretly injected a little of Crimson Flame's flames. The leopard immediately turned into spiritual energy and dissipated into the air. Chapter 474. Ha! Just as the iron leopard was scattered, a long spear shot towards her. She hurriedly waved her whip and sent it flying. However, the spear circled in the air and stabbed towards Sima Yue. No matter where she was, the spear could find her as if it had eyes. This was also the white-robed man's weapon, a low-grade divine artifact. Because he had refined it, it was completely under his control. He didn't need to hold it to attack people. Go! Sima Yue threw Ling Long out. Ling Long immediately started fighting with the spear in the air. Although she did not refine Ling Long, it was still a spiritual weapon. As long as it recognized its master, their minds would be connected. Without her control, Ling Long would be able to attack as it pleased. It would be more flexible, and its attack power would be stronger than when it was in her hands. Sima Yue looked at the black-clothed man. He didn't speak much, and gave off a rather cold feeling. She never thought that he would actually have a low-ranked divine artifact on him. It seemed like his position in the innumerable green palace wasn't low. She formed a seal with both hands, and a steel blade formed in front of her. Under her control, it attacked the black-robed man. The black-clothed man was controlling his own divine artifact, and did not have the energy to receive her attack. He would either have to give up control of the divine artifact, or be injured by the steel blade. Clang! A long sword flew over from the side and scattered all the steel sabers before flying back to Xia Yingying's hand. Another low-grade divine artifact. I didn't expect you to have some skills. No wonder you dare to go against my innumerable green palace. Xia Yingying looked at Sima Yue and said, "But how can you compare to us? Green-eyed tiger, come out and tear them apart." A green-eyed tiger appeared in front of everyone. Its aura was that of a second-rank sacred beast. Sima Yue knew that in the primordial lands, it was rare for the younger generation to have a sacred beast above level 2. Because they were not strong enough, contracting a sacred beast would harm one's spiritual power and affect one's future development. Xia Yingying actually had a second-level sacred beast, which meant that her spiritual power was not low. "Thousand Resonance, come and play with them," Sima Yue said. The moment Thousand Resonance appeared, the people on the street gasped in astonishment. The other party also had a second-level sacred beast. They knew that Xia Yingying was the daughter of the innumerable green palace's branch palace master. She was also an alchemist, so her position in the younger generation of the innumerable green palace was not low. Not long ago, the news of him being bestowed a second-level sacred beast had caused quite a stir in the innumerable green city. So when they saw her call out the green-eyed tiger, no one was surprised. But what was the background of her opponent? He looked so young, but he also had a second-level sacred beast. Could it be that he was a genius descendant of some great power? Once the two sacred beasts came out, they began to fight. The green-eyed tiger's strength was about the same as Thousand Resonances, but in terms of bloodline, it was much weaker. Thus, it was not Thousand Resonance's opponent. Bang! Bang! The black-robed man's long spear fell to the ground, and the green-eyed tiger was also beaten to the ground by Thousand Resonance. He lost so quickly. That fox is stronger than that tiger. Aren't they all second-level sacred beasts? How could they lose so quickly? Someone did not understand. That fox's bloodline is definitely higher than that tiger's. With the suppression of the bloodline, it was no match for the fox, someone explained. Its bloodline is actually higher than the tiger's. Who is this person? He actually has a contracted beast with such a bloodline. Could it be that he's a disciple of some great sect? No matter how big the sect is, can it be bigger than the innumerable green palace? Maybe he's from another state. That's possible. Xia Yingying saw that her contracted beast had lost so quickly and was shocked. She quickly ran over to check on its injuries. What happened? A group of people walked over from the corner of the street. The person in the lead saw the innumerable green palace disciples on the ground and frowned. Senior Huang. Xia Yingying stood up and pointed at Sima Yue and the rest, saying, "They bullied my innumerable green palace, and even injured our fellow disciples." Huang Qingwen looked at Thousand Resonance, who was beside Sima Yue, and said, "A second-level sacred beast. No wonder you're so arrogant. Injuring my innumerable green palace disciples, no matter what the reason is, you should be captured and punished." After he finished speaking, a second-level sacred beast appeared beside him. Sima Yue saw that Ouyang Fei was injured and said with a black face, "Is there no one in your innumerable green palace that's reasonable? Bullying others with numbers? Round after round, ganging up on others and ambushing them. You guys are really bringing glory to your innumerable green palace. You guys are really shameless. I used to think that the innumerable green palace was a righteous sect, but now it seems like it's just that." Chongming, come out. Chongming came out, and the surrounding people sucked in a breath. This person actually had a sacred beast, and it was a third-level sacred beast. Are they all dead? Chongming asked. Sima Yue was silent for a few seconds, then said, "Forget it. We're still in their territory. If we kill them, I'm afraid there will be trouble in the future. Just make sure they don't get in our way." All right. Chongming waved his hand lightly then said, all right. Let's go. Sima Yue said. The few of them left, and Xia Yingying and the rest did not stop them at all. They just watched as they left the street. The others were puzzled, but one of them saw the clues and cried out in shock. They've been frozen. How did they get frozen? Spatial binding. Memory Restaurant's shopkeeper said. After he finished dealing with the watermark, he heard the sounds of fighting outside and came out to take a look. He did not expect it to be them. Spatial binding. Everyone swallowed their saliva. He had just waved his hand lightly, and all these people were under his control. A second-level sacred beast and a third-level sacred beast. Just what is that person's background? No matter what his background is, with this move of his, the innumerable Green Palace will not dare to casually deal with him. They have to consider it carefully. An elder from Xianyuan Pavilion said and walked back. The commotion was over, and there was nothing left to see. Just as Sima Yue and the rest turned the corner, Chongming waved his hand again, and the innumerable Green Palace members regained their freedom. However, they all sat on the ground, their clothes drenched in cold sweat, and their eyes filled with fear. Sima Yue and the rest returned to the inn that they were staying in. Ouyang Fei had eaten a pill and was much better now. The wound on his arm had also scabbed over. You're all tired today. Go and rest, Sima Yue said and returned to her room. The few of them exchanged glances. Finally, Sima Yulin said to Bei Gong Tang, go and see her. You all go and rest first, Bei Gong Tang said as she went to Sima Yue's room. She knocked on the door and entered after getting a response. The moment she entered, she saw Sima Yue sitting at the table, playing with the cup that she had used in Memory Restaurant. Chapter 475. Why aren't you resting? Sima Yue raised her head to look at Bei Gong Tang, before lowering her head to continue playing with the cup. I came to see you. Bei Gong Tang walked over and sat down. What happened to you today? Nothing. Sima Yue shook her head. Bei Gong Tang stretched out her hand and pressed down on the cup, saying, originally, we didn't plan to ask you. We thought that you might tell us. But your situation doesn't seem right. Last time, he collapsed after advancing to God rank. Today he's giving off a sorrowful vibe, so we can't help but ask. What's wrong with you? If there's anything, just tell us. We'll share it with you. Some things can't be changed even if you say it out loud, Sima Yue said. I thought so too at that time. But what did you say? In the Pu Luo mountain range, you told me that no matter what happened in the past, no matter what we will encounter in the future, we are now together. We are comrades who have fought side by side. We are people who can entrust our backs to each other. If we want to talk, we will always be there. We've lived together for so many years and experienced so much together. We've already treated each other as family. What else is there that we can't say? Bei Gong Tang said. No matter what happens, we will always be together with you. Sima Yue looked at Bei Gong Tang's resolute gaze and remained silent for a while. She sighed and said, the two of you can come in too. Ouyang Fei and Sima Yulin came in without the awkwardness of being caught eavesdropping. With her divine senses, she naturally knew that they were outside. You're all curious today. I've lived in the Yilin continent since I was young. How did I know that Qin Mo is the owner of Memory Restaurant? Yue asked. We're a little curious, Bei Gong Tang said. But we're more worried about why you're suddenly emitting such a sorrowful aura. Sima Yue touched the words at the bottom of the cup and said, do you believe that the soul can be reborn after death? When they heard what she said, Sima Yulin and the others looked at her in shock, unable to speak. You mean you? Sima Yue nodded and said, just as you think. I was from the primordial lands in my previous life. After I was killed, my soul entered this body and became Sima Yue. What about the original soul? Dead. When she was 14, she was beaten to death by Morongan's men, Sima Yue said. Before she died, she pulled me into her body and made me her. No wonder when we met you, you were different from the rumors. Ouyang Fei sighed. My soul was injured when I died in my previous life, so I forgot everything about my previous life. When I advanced to God level, my soul was repaired, allowing me to regain my memories. Sima Yue continued. That was also the reason why I broke down. Did you die a horrible death in your previous life? You could say that. However, I'm not sad because I died. Rather, it's because of me, my entire clan was exterminated. My clansmen were killed one after another in front of my eyes, and one house after another turned into a sea of fire before my eyes. My parents were killed in order to let me and my brother leave. Before my mother died, she gently said that she didn't blame me. If I survive, don't think about revenge. Live happily. And because of me, my brother let his spirit beast fly away with me, while he ran back to block the pursuers. Sima Yue closed her eyes and covered her face with her hands, tears quietly falling. Ever since she regained her memories, she couldn't help but cry every time she thought about it. Bei Gongtang and the other two were silent. They didn't think that she had actually experienced so much. The regret and pain in her words were so deep that it made them sad as well. No wonder she cried so much when she advanced to God level. No wonder she was so sad when she saw the things in Memory Restaurant. Did you know this Qin Mo in the past? Bei Gongtang asked. Memory Restaurant? Could it be that this restaurant was built to commemorate you? Qin Mo was a very good friend of mine in the past. His cultivation talent wasn't very good, but he really liked to cook. In the beginning, we became friends because of this. Sima Yue wiped away the tears on her face, saying, When I went to Memory Restaurant today, I didn't think too much about it. However, those signature dishes, if it wasn't me who taught him before, then it was him who made them for me. That honey chicken wing. Because I was in a hurry, I only told him how to make it. But I didn't think that he would make it taste the same as what I remembered. His restaurant wasn't called this in the past, but I wouldn't mistake the taste, so I guessed that he was the owner. He had once told her that his dream was to open mini restaurants, so that she could eat the delicacies she wanted to eat wherever she went. Bei Gongtang held Sima Yue's hand, saying, No matter if you were reborn or not, you are still our Yue. Sima Yue wanted to smile, but she couldn't get rid of the sadness in her eyes. Yue, what was your name in the past? Shiman Yue. It wasn't a very big clan in the central regions. Sima Yue replied. Then, what about the person who killed you? The Zhongzheng clan was attached to the Yinyang Palace. That Yinyang Palace was only a second-rate power, and there were other powers attached to them. Sima Yue clenched her fist, saying, The people who made a move against us were the Zhongzheng clan and the Yinyang Palace. When we grow up, we'll go back and take revenge, Ouyang Fei said. Okay. Sima Yue nodded. Since she chose to say it, then she wouldn't hide it from them. She understood them, and they wouldn't stay out of it. At the same time, on a mountain in the central regions, a man wearing a mask was standing in the wind. A girl walked over asking, Do you really want to go out? The man's voice was hoarse, and it was obvious that it wasn't a normal voice. But the opponent is so strong. No matter how strong they are, I have to go. The man said, I've sacrificed so much, and it's all for the sake of killing my enemy. Grandfather said that if you don't use that power, you can still live for a few more decades. If I can kill a few more enemies, I'd rather live a few more decades. Living isn't the reason for my survival. Revenge is my life's pursuit. Then I'll go with you. The man shook his head. You should stay in the valley. No, you can either stay, and we'll find a way together. Or you can take me with you. The girl tugged at the corner of his clothes, her attitude very firm. The man still shook his head. If you dare to go out by yourself, I'll just die here. You know that the opponent is very strong. I'll be in danger if I go out. Why do you still? Because I like you. No matter what you look like, I like you. I'd rather not live if I have to watch you face those people alone. I don't have long to live. I don't care. As long as you're alive, I'll like you. As long as I like you, I'll follow you. No matter where you go, I'll follow you. I heard that there's a great auction in the Xianyuan Pavilion next month, in the outer central region. And those people will be there too. The central region is so far away. We'll go and kill those people. And they won't know anything. How about it? The man looked at the girl's bright eyes and sighed again. He looked at the birds flying in the distance and didn't speak again. Chapter 476. Sima Yue, Bei Gong Tang, and the others were chatting in the house, talking about some things that happened in the past. They did not know that the matter of her leaving the symbol in memory restaurant had already spread to the central regions through a special channel. In a large courtyard, a maid hurriedly walked into an exquisite small courtyard and was stopped by the guards at the door. "Where's master?" the maid asked. "I am in seclusion, trying to break through to the high-level divine emperor realm," a guard said. Before master went into seclusion, he instructed that no one is to disturb him. So if Miss Mu has something to say, it's better to wait for master to come out of seclusion. "Miss Mu, you've been taking care of the matters of the restaurant all these years. It's rare to see you looking for master. Is there something important?" another guard asked. Mu Wen took out a shadow recording stone and injected spirit energy into it. The shadow recording stone emitted a burst of light, and an image appeared in the air. There was no one in the picture, only a pile of used cutlery. However, the two guards were shocked when they saw the picture. "This watermark." Qin Hong, the guard who spoke later, pointed at the watermark on the table in surprise. "That's right, it's one of the symbols that master told us about." Another guard, Qin Ran, said. Mu Wen stopped injecting her spiritual power, and the image disappeared. "Now you know why I'm so anxious." "Miss Mu, where did this message come from?" Qin Ran asked. "Outside, in the southern prefecture's innumerable azure city," Mu Wen said. "Did that person really appear?" Qin Hong asked incredulously. "Or is this just a coincidence?" "Whether it's a coincidence or not, this is the first time in many years. Thinking about all these years, this is still hope. But if it's just a coincidence, won't you be even more disappointed?" Qin Hong felt sorry for his master. "Take a look at this news." Mu Wen took out a piece of paper and showed it to them. When the two of them saw the words on it, their eyes widened. "Sima Yue? His name is Yue too. But why is it a man?" Qin Hong shouted. "Both are called Yue. This is too much of a coincidence. As for whether or not it is true, I still need to personally confirm it when I come out." Mu Wen said. "That side has already gone to investigate their matter. I believe there will be results very soon. I also don't know why master is so insistent. The people of Shiman clan have already been dead for so long. At that time, we also saw the corpse of Shiman Yue with our own eyes. Why is he so insistent that she is still alive? Why did you spend so much energy and money to open so many restaurants in the central and peripheral regions to inquire about her?" Qin Hong was puzzled. "Master has his own ideas, we just need to execute them." Mu Wen said. "I don't know when master will come out, I'll just wait here." After Mu Wen finished speaking, she walked to the pavilion in the courtyard and sat down. She stared blankly at the shadow recording stone in her hand. In the past, she had followed Qin Mo, and she had also met Shiman Yue a few times. The symbol drawn by the watermark gave her a familiar feeling, and it didn't seem to be a coincidence. However, she was also certain that Shiman Yue was already dead. She had snatched the corpse from that person's hands. There was no longer any signs of life. Furthermore, she had personally seen her master bury Shiman Yue's corpse. Now, how could the news of innumerable green palaces, people being beaten up in front of Xian Yuan Pavilion, quickly spread throughout the entire innumerable green city? Many people were prepared to see Yue and the others get caught. However, after a few days, there was no news at all. Could it be that innumerable green palaces people were just going to let it go? Even Yue and the others were a little surprised. They thought that innumerable green palaces people would quickly come to cause trouble for them. However, they didn't expect that these few days would be so quiet. The reason for this was actually because Xia Yingying and the others had been locked up. They didn't have the time to cause trouble for Yue and the others. The reason for this was because the shopkeeper of Memory Restaurant had said to innumerable green palaces' vice palace master that their juniors were becoming more and more arrogant. After the vice palace master returned, he immediately ordered people to understand the situation during the day. After knowing what had happened, He locked up all the people involved in the incident during the day. Vice Palace Master, what is the meaning of this? What did Ying and the others do wrong? You actually locked them up. A big bearded man directly ran to the Vice Palace Master's palace to interrogate him. The Vice Palace Master explained everything and said, "The younger generation of Innumerable Green Palace is actually so rude and unreasonable. They used the name of Innumerable Green Palace to bully others. Locking them up is already considered a light punishment. Palace Master Xia, as a Palace Master, you didn't teach your daughter well. You let Ying develop such a character. Instead of going back and properly reflecting, you actually came here to interrogate me?" After being scolded by the Vice Palace Master, Xia Zhong's expression turned ugly. However, he still didn't think that his daughter had done anything wrong. They were from Innumerable Green Palace. Those lowly commoners should have given in to their daughter. Not only did they snatch their private room, they even beat them up on the streets. They had embarrassed themselves in front of the entire city. It had to be said that the kind of father would raise the kind of daughter. Xia Zhong returned to his own palace. The moment he entered, his beautiful wife pulled him by the ear and scolded him. Because he didn't get his precious daughter out, he was still locked up in that damp and dark place. Useless old thing. Your own daughter is suffering there, and you still can't get her out. What kind of father are you? Wu Qiao was beautiful and had a fierce personality. She loved her daughter the most. When she heard that her daughter had been locked up, she asked Xia Zhong to look for the Vice Palace Master. She didn't expect that after waiting for so long, he was the only one who came back. Thus she started scolding him. Originally, Xia Zhong had taken such a beautiful wife and treasured her dearly. She gave birth to an intelligent and beautiful daughter with good innate talent. She even became an alchemist and obtained the sex permission to match her with the sacred beast. He doted on her even more. He was already angry that he didn't get his daughter out. Now that he was being scolded by his wife, he was even angrier. He hated Yue and the others even more. Qiao, don't be angry. The Vice Palace Master has already given his punishment. We can't change it. Xia Zhong coaxed. Then what about our daughter? Luckily, the Vice Palace Master didn't punish her for too long. Ying will be out in a month. What's going on? Listen to me. Xia Zhong explained the situation to Wu Qiao. After hearing it, Wu Qiao angrily slammed the table. What a good memory restaurant. Our Ying went to eat there because she thought highly of them. They actually dared to gang up with a few lowly commoners to bully my daughter. Bring some people to take care of those fellows. I want to see if my Innumerable Green Palace is more powerful than that memory restaurant. Also take care of those people too. They dared to hurt my daughter. They're simply looking for death. That won't do, Xia Zhong said. The Vice Palace Master said that we're not allowed to do anything. Why did I marry such a useless thing like you? He doesn't allow us to do anything openly. Your family isn't under the direct control of the Innumerable Green Palace. Can't you think of something there? Xia Zhong's eyes lit up when he heard it and said, Qiao, you're so smart. I'll go find them and discuss it. Chapter 477. Sima Yue and the others stayed in the inn for a few days, but no one came to find trouble with them. Gradually, they put this matter at the back of their minds and waited quietly for the day of the teleportation portal. On this day, they were drinking tea downstairs when a high-level divine ancestor and a high-level god king walked in. Young Master Xia, why are you so free to come here today? Could it be that you want to stay in the inn? The waiter went up and said with a smile. The man in the yellow embroidered robe raised his chin high and said, How could I have the time to stay at your inn? I have something to do today. Young Master Xia, what's the matter? Go call that Sima Yue, Bei Gong Tang, Ouying Fei and Sima Yulin over. Is there anything I can help you with? There's something, of course there's something, the yellow-clothed man said. Daring to hit my Xiaqing Ren's cousin. These people are tired of living. Today, I am here to help my cousin get back at her. Quickly go and call him over. If you make me wait too long, I will be even angrier. Yue and the others didn't pay much attention to the person who came in. However, they frowned when they heard what the person said. Xia Yingying's cousin? No wonder he hadn't come looking for trouble with them these past few days. It turned out that he had gone looking for help. Xia Qingren saw that Xiao Er didn't move, so he shouted with a dark face. Why aren't you going? Do you want me to tear this place down? The waiter pointed to a corner of the hall and said, Young Master Xia, they are over there. Xia Qingren followed the waiter's hand and saw 4 people sitting at a square table drinking tea. He said, The 4 of you come over here. There was no response. I told you to come here, did you hear me? Xia Qingren roared. You're crazy. Bei Gongtang replied faintly, not even putting him in her eyes. What do you mean? Don't you understand my words? Ouyang Fei picked up his teacup and took a sip. Not only is he sick, but he's also stupid. Isn't stupidity a kind of illness? Sima Yulin said. Exactly. Sima Yu raised her cup towards Sima Yulin. You guys are looking down on me too much. I'm very angry, and the consequences are very serious. Not only is this person stupid, he's also very stupid. Bei Gongtang said. Xia Qingren's cold aura was about to lower the temperature of the room, but the 4 people still didn't react. They treated him like air. Xiada, go and kill them all for us. Originally, I only wanted to chop off one of their legs and one of their hands, leaving them alive to struggle at death's door. But now, I don't want to see them anymore. He knew that Sima Yue had a rank 3 sacred beast, but other than Xiada himself, who was a high divine overlord, he also had contracted beasts of similar strength, so it was more than enough to deal with them. Xiada was a taciturn person. He walked over and threw a spirit energy ball. However, the spirit energy ball froze in the air and dissipated. Xia Qingren and the others were shocked when they saw this scene. How could the spiritual energy ball be frozen before it even touched them? Could it be that there was an expert protecting them? But they didn't sense anyone else's aura. It's my first time using spatial energy. I didn't think that the effect would be so good. Sima Yue said lightly. You can use your thoughts to seal the space. You're getting more and more familiar with spatial energy. Sima Yulin said. Aren't you about the same? Sima Yue said. Sima Yulin's spatial energy was not bad, and could seal a certain amount of space. You're an array master? Xiada looked at Sima Yue in shock. Only array masters could use spatial energy. That's right. Xiada turned his head, wanting to see his young master's attitude. Array master? Xia Qingren frowned. This was a little difficult. His uncle didn't say that the other party was an array master. Furthermore, looking at the situation, it seemed like there were 2 array masters. However, when he thought about how his cousin was being confined, he threw away his worries and huffed. So what if you're an array master? It's not like I've never seen an array master before. Do you think I'll be scared? Xiada, continue. Xiada nodded and called out his own spirit beast. It was a 3rd-rank sacred beast. An array master's battle power was very strong. Even if he was a whole rank higher, he still didn't dare to let his guard down. Sima Yue also called out Chongming. With his strength, it was no problem for him to deal with these 2 people, who asked him to be an idle spirit beast. In this aspect, he was comparable to an array master. Chongming, throw them all out. Sima Yue ordered. Young Master Xia, right? If you still want your little life, it's best that you don't appear in front of me again. Otherwise, my spirit beast might accidentally kill you. That would be bad. Sister, I want to come out. Little Dream suddenly said. Sima Yue didn't know what Little Dream wanted to do, but she rarely came out after coming to the continent. Now that she wanted to come out, she would satisfy her. A cute little child dressed in black appeared in front of everyone. Looking at her, they thought that she was a human child. However, once they felt her aura, they knew that she was a spirit beast. After Little Dream came out, she didn't do anything. She only glared at Xia Qingren and Xiada when they looked at her. Then she smiled and said, Master. Sima Yue knew what Little Dream had just done. She smiled and patted her head. Chongming's movements were very nimble. He first sealed the space, then kicked them out. In order to save time, he directly kicked the 2 of them, and the spirit beast 2 streets away. Those who were watching the show saw that he was so powerful, and looked at Sima Yue in a new light. Sima Yue supported her chin with one hand and looked at Chongming. She smiled and said, Chongming, you're getting more and more powerful. I've always been like this. Chongming was too lazy to go back after coming out, so he sat beside Sima Yulin. Little dream, what did you do just now? Bei Gongtang asked curiously. I didn't do much. I just made them have nightmares when they go back. Little dream said obediently. Little brat, who taught you that? Sima Yue scratched her nose. Big brother Fatty and the others. They said that those people were so annoying, but you can't kill them now. That's why they asked me to make them suffer. Little Dream said seriously. Little Dream can protect Master too. Little Dream is so obedient. Sima Yue said with a smile. She believed that Xia Qingren and Xia Tian would definitely live well in the future. Waiter, come over. Ouyang Fei waved at the waiter. The waiter walked over to them trembling. These people had just sent a divine overlord flying with a kick. What cruel people. Dear guests, what's the matter? What's Xia Qingren's background? What's his relationship with Xia Yingying? Ouyang Fei asked. The Xia clan is one of the bigger clans in innumerable Green City, because Xia Zhong, who is Xia Yingying's father, is a branch palace master. The Xia clan has always been rude and unreasonable in innumerable Green City. Xia Zhong and Xia Qingren's father are blood brothers. Sima Yue rubbed her chin. Blood brothers at this time. A familiar voice came from the door. Yue? So it's you guys. Chapter 478. Yue and the others looked towards the door and saw Chou Xiaotian and Lian Zhe walking in. Why are you here? When we were outside, we heard someone mention your name, so we came over to see if you were here. I didn't expect it to really be you guys. Chou Xiaotian walked over and said, Big brother Chou, you still haven't returned to Central State? Ouyang Fei asked. Brother Lian Zhe has invited me to the innumerable Green Palace as a guest for a few days, so this trip has been put on hold. Chou Xiaotian said. However, I will not be returning to the Central Region in the near future. Why? Your Excellency Xian Yuan, there will be a huge auction in the Central Region next month. I contacted my master yesterday, and he asked me to meet him in the Central Region. Chou Xiaotian said. When are you going to the Central Region? If it's early, we can even get together. Bei Gongtang took out the number she had taken and looked at it, saying, We still have close to 20 days. You guys even queued up? Lian Zhe looked at the familiar number tag and said, Didn't I tell you to look for me when you came here and I would arrange it for you? How long have you been here? It's been a few days. Yue said, Your innumerable Green Palace's gates are too high. Even if we went, we wouldn't be able to see you. You have quite a big opinion of the innumerable Green Palace. Chou Xiaotian said with a smile. I'm just telling the truth. Yue shrugged. Furthermore, we've already offended someone from your innumerable Green Palace. If we go looking for you, we'll just be walking right into your trap. Did you guys have a conflict with Xia Yingying? Lian Zhe pulled a chair from the table next to his and sat down. That's right. Didn't you see that the Xia family is here? Yue mocked. This should be done by Xia Zhong and Wu Qiaoqiao. Lian Zhe said. Our vice palace master has confined Xia Yingying and the others, so our innumerable Green Palace is still fair. I heard about it too. I also heard that Xia Zhong went to look for the deputy palace master and was severely reprimanded in the end. Chou Xiaotian had been staying in the innumerable Green Palace for the past few days, so he knew a little about the news that was spreading like wildfire. Xia Yingying and the others were grounded? Yue raised her eyebrows. She hadn't expected this. The vice palace master scolded Xia Zhong and forbade anyone from the innumerable Green Palace from causing trouble. Therefore, this should be Xia Zhong's own actions. You can't wrong us because of this. Lian Zhe pretended to be wronged as he looked at Sima Yue. Even if that vice palace master of yours is reasonable, the younger generation has also lost their reputation. Your inner circle knows what you're like, but what everyone sees is how the younger generation acts on the outside. Sima Yulin said. That is indeed not a good thing. Those who grew up in the innumerable Green Palace are indeed prideful. However, that's only a minority. Most of the younger generation still grow up well. Lianze said. Sima Yue shrugged and did not comment. Anyway, it had nothing to do with them, and they did not need to argue about it. As for the people in the inn, they felt like they were in a fantasy. Lianze was the palace master. So who in the innumerable green palace did not know him? However, based on their conversation just now, Lianze had always been defending the innumerable green palace. It was as if he did not want the other party to hate his sect. This made everyone even more curious about his identity. When they thought about her contracted beasts, they realized that she had 3 sacred beasts. Even Xia Yingying and the others did not have the right to have them, let alone the power to have them. Big Brother Cho, is the auction that you mentioned very big? Even your master and the others want to go. Will the people from the other regions go as well? Sima Yue asked. I heard that it has been many years since it was this big. The items being auctioned are all very high ranked. For example, spirit tools. The lowest ranked ones are divine ranked. Furthermore, there are many different types and many rare items. Lianze said. There should be people from all the continents who want to go. Our innumerable green palace received an invitation. Those without an invitation can't go. Why is the auction not held in the central regions, but in the outer regions? Sima Yue did not understand. I heard that it's to train the younger generation. This time, the younger generation is fully in charge. It seems to be related to the future leader of the Xianyuan Pavilion. Lianze said. It's said that the younger generation are all managing the affairs in the outer regions. Yu, are you guys going to participate in the auction? Cho Xiaotian asked. Not necessarily. We'll see if there's enough time. Sima Yue said. An auction that could invite people from all the continents would definitely attract people. However, they had to go there to save people first. As for what would happen, she was not sure. If there was enough time, going to take a look wasn't a bad idea. If the situation is more complicated, we can go to the auction first before going back. Bei Gongtang said. Anyway, we've waited for so many years. We don't have to rush these 2 months. She could see that Yu was interested in the auction. She did not want her to be unable to go because of her own matters. Let's go take a look at the situation before making a decision. Sima Yue said. Okay. What are you guys talking about? Cho Xiaotian did not understand. You wouldn't know even if I told you. Sima Yue gave him a you don't understand look. Then she said to Lianze. If we want to leave now, can you help us? Of course. Lianze said with a smile. We can go now. I'll go pay the bill. Ouyang Fei stood up and went to the counter to calculate the accommodation fees for these few days. The shopkeeper quickly calculated the bill for them and said, You guys are staying in the 4 rooms in the sky room. Each room costs 15 middle-ranked crystals a day. You've stayed for 9 days, so it's a total of 540 middle-ranked crystals. Here, Ouyang Fei took out 540 middle-ranked crystals without batting an eyelid. They had brought their things with them, so there was nothing in the room. The few of them directly left the inn and went to the place where the teleportation array was. The teleportation array was in the city. It was not particularly far from where they were staying. The few of them walked for half an hour before they arrived. Palace Master Lian, are you here to inspect? A manager saw Lianze and quickly ran over. This teleportation array was directly managed by the innumerable green palace, so it did not belong to the city lord's palace. No, Lianze said. I brought a few friends over. They're going to the central region. Palace Master Lian, there's no other way. The manager said. This teleportation array was broken this morning. We're looking for Grandmaster Hao to fix it. Broken? What did Grandmaster Hao say? Grandmaster Hao said that it would take at least 3 days to fix it. The manager replied. Lianze turned to Sima Yue and said, Grandmaster Hao is an array master. If he said it would take 3 days, then it should be fine. Since you've already checked out, why don't you stay in the innumerable green palace for 2 days? Little Meng held Sima Yue's hand and gently squeezed it. Sima Yue lowered her head to look at her and nodded. That's good too. Then we'll have to trouble Palace Master Lian. Yue, you're an array master too. Don't you want to check on the teleportation array? Cho Xiaotian asked. Chapter 479. Yue is also an array master? Lianze asked in surprise. I know a little, Sima Yue said. Do you want to take a look? Can I? Sima Yue was tempted. Before Lianze could say yes, the steward on the side spoke first. Hall Master Lian, Grandmaster Hao doesn't like people watching when he's setting up arrays. Lianze also thought of this problem, and said apologetically. That Grandmaster Hao has a weird temper. Even we don't dare to provoke him. Forget it then. Sima Yue smiled. In any case, she would be able to see the array formation from behind, so there was no hurry. Then let's go to the innumerable green palace first. Lianze was a little embarrassed. All right. They went to the innumerable green city. When they found out that Lianze had brought Sima Yue and the others here, the people of the innumerable green palace were very surprised. Later on, when they found out that Lianze had treated them as important guests, they were curious about their identities. In the Red River Hall, which was very far away from the Soaring Cloud Hall, Xia Zhong and Wu Qiaoqiao listened to their disciples' report. They were so angry that their teeth itched. They had just found out that Xia Qingren and the others had been beaten up, and in the blink of an eye, they found out that they had been invited to the innumerable green palace as VIPs. Wasn't this just causing trouble for them? This Lianze, he clearly knows that these people are not on good terms with us. Yet he still welcomed them to the innumerable green palace. How despicable! Xia Zhong said hatefully. This Soaring Cloud Palace has always been at odds with my Red River Palace. It's not surprising that they invited those people. You guys go down first. Wu Qiaoqiao waved her hand at the servant girls in the main hall. After everyone left, she continued. Now is an opportunity. What opportunity? Xia Zhong was stunned. Before he could figure out why she had called him away, his wife had mysteriously told him about it. What a blockhead! Wu Qiaoqiao glared at him fiercely. Aren't they here now? We can think of a way to teach them a lesson. Although Xia Zhong had a bad temper, he was a straightforward person. He was not like Wu Qiaoqiao, who was full of twists and turns. Now that he heard his wife say this, he understood and said, Madam, do you have any good ideas? Don't we have some forbidden areas? When the time comes, I'll get someone to lead them inside and trespass into the forbidden area. Let's see what they'll do then. Wu Qiaoqiao sneered and said, Bullying my daughter, how can I let them off so easily? Madam's idea is very good. But which forbidden area should we lead them to? Let's go to the third forbidden area. No one will die there, but they won't come out easily either. Wu Qiaoqiao said, Go and make the arrangements. Don't mess things up this time, or I'll regret marrying an idiot like you. Don't worry, madam. I won't mess it up this time. Xia Zhong smiled flatteringly. I'll make the arrangements now. Go quickly. If you can't do it well, don't come back. Madam, just wait for my good news. Xia Zhong said as he went out. No one in the room noticed that there were 2 bees on the beam. On the other side, Sima Yue and the other 3 were touring the innumerable green palace under Lianze's lead. After receiving the Scarlet Queen Bee's report, she smiled faintly. Palace Master Lian, your innumerable green palace is so big. There must be some restricted areas, right? There are. We have a large restricted area here. The first 3 restricted areas are forbidden from entering without permission. The last 2 restricted areas are for those who are weak to enter vertically and come out horizontally. Lianze said. Then can you bring us outside the restricted areas to take a look? Sima Yue said with a smile. It wouldn't be good if we accidentally enter the restricted areas. Lianze thought about it and nodded. We can walk outside the restricted areas. After saying that, he led them to change their original route and walk directly towards the restricted areas of the innumerable green palace. The first restricted area was a canyon. They stood on top of the canyon. Lianze pointed down and said, This is our cliff of remorse. Those who have made mistakes are all imprisoned here. Why here? Although this canyon doesn't look very long, it's a bottomless abyss. It's extremely cold. Those imprisoned here can only use strength below the divine rank. If they want to expel the cold, their spiritual energy is far from enough. This can be considered a form of punishment. Lianze said. Although it's called a punishment, it's actually a form of training. Sima Yue said. In this kind of environment, if they used it well, they could gain many benefits. A white-robed old man who was meditating on a huge rock on the opposite side of the cliff heard her words. His tightly shut eyes moved slightly, and he opened them to look at her. Lianze wanted to say something, but was stopped by the old man's gaze. Why do you think this is a form of training? The old man opened his mouth and asked. They had seen this old man when they arrived. However, Sima Yue didn't ask for his identity. Since he was meditating here, he should be a guard or something. The temperature here is very low, and those imprisoned here can only use strength below the divine rank. If they want to resist the cold, they can only continuously use their spiritual energy and maximize it. This will help them control their own strength, she replied. Moreover, I think that if they want to resist the cold, their spiritual energy will need to be constantly aware of their own situation. If they keep doing this, it will also improve their spiritual energy. The old man stroked his long white beard and nodded. Your understanding is not bad. This place does have such an effect. It's a pity that those who make mistakes only see this place as a punishment, and not a form of training. Sima Yue smiled at the old man, and then said to Lianze, let's go to the other forbidden areas to take a look. Lianze glanced at the old man. Seeing that he didn't say anything, he nodded. Then let's go to the second forbidden area. The second forbidden area was a courtyard. A tall wall blocked the view of the inside. Lianze didn't say what was inside, but it must be a special courtyard used by the innumerable green palace. After that, they went to the third forbidden area. They didn't expect it to be a valley. There's nothing special about the third forbidden area. Why is it considered a forbidden area? Sima Yue asked. There are actually some spirit beasts reared by the sect. Or maybe they met some ferocious beasts and couldn't bear to kill them, so they kept them here. Lianze said. Sima Yue looked at the ordinary valley entrance. There's a barrier here? Yes. Sima Yue took 2 steps forward, and a barrier appeared, blocking her outside. Then who can enter this place? She pretended to ask casually. All the palace masters can enter. Our palace masters have a token that represents their identity. With this, they can enter and exit freely. Lianze said as he took out a golden token. On one side of it was a palace, and on the other side were the words Soaring Cloud Palace. No pop-up window. Our address. We provide handwritten versions of the latest chapters of our works. We can download them in TXT ebook format for free. Chapter 480. Sima Yue looked at the token and asked, Can I try? Once you go in, you'll have to come out immediately. The ferocious beasts inside are still very powerful. Lianze did not object. All right. Sima Yue took the token and continued walking forward. The enchantment did not stop her anymore. She took 2 steps and came back out again. She returned the token to him and said, This thing is really rare. This was personally made by the hall master. He said that it's connected to many of the barriers in the innumerable green palace. Lianze kept the token. Let's continue to the next 2 places. All right. Lianze didn't bring them closer to the last 2 places. He only glanced at them from afar before leaving. It seemed like these 2 places had secrets that couldn't be spoken of. However, which great sect didn't have a few secret places? The innumerable green palace was considered one of the few. After watching for so long, I'm tired of walking. It's getting late. Let's return to the Soaring Cloud Palace. Lianze said. All right. After they returned, Sima Yue and the rest stayed in the guest room, while Lianze was called away. Yue, why do you want to see those forbidden areas? Bei Gongtang and the others would not question her words or actions outside. But when there were no outsiders around, they would still ask. This was because they knew that Yue would not do such things for no reason. Didn't we release a few scarlet bees when we arrived in the afternoon? Sima Yue said. I think I saw you move. Sima Yulin said. What news did you hear? I told them to look for Xia Zhong and the others. I happened to hear that he and his wife were planning to bring us to the Forbidden Grounds and have the innumerable green palace punish us. Of course, if we can die in there, it will be even better. Sima Yue said. This Xia Zhong. It looks like he didn't get any benefits from the Xia clan. I didn't think that he still hasn't given up, Bei Gongtang said. With such parents, it's no wonder she raised such a daughter. Ouyang Fei said. Looks like we have to teach them a lesson. Otherwise, we won't be able to vent our anger. Little Meng will let them enjoy themselves tonight. Sima Yue said. Little Dream, you have to punish them properly. Bei Gongtang patted Little Dream's head saying, because of our strength, we can't directly exterminate them. We also can't provoke too much trouble, so we can't openly take care of those two old fellows. Right now we're counting on you. Don't worry, I know what to do. Little Dream nodded seriously. When she was in the Spirit Pagoda, she was furious at Xia Ying and the others for bullying her. She couldn't wait to come out and beat them up. Wei Ziqi and Sima Yuran analyzed Yuyu's current situation for her and told her not to cause trouble for Sima Yuyu. After that, they taught her how to take revenge for Yue without anyone knowing. She was a rather special type of magical beast. She could attack people mentally, causing them to fall into nightmares, or create an environment to cause them to fall into hallucinations. This kind of attack didn't reveal anything. The average person had never come into contact with it before. They didn't even know about the existence of nightmare beasts, so it was very difficult for people to notice it. You still have to be careful. Sima Yuyu said. The Innumerable Green Palace is such a big sect. There will definitely be powerful people. It'll be troublesome if they find out. I understand, Little Dream said. However, those people aren't that strong right now. According to my inherited memories, as long as the other party hasn't broken through to the monarch rank, there won't be any problems. Above the spirit rank was the divine rank, above the divine rank was the monarch rank, and after the monarch rank was the emperor rank. Furthermore, no one had seen anyone with emperor rank in the entire continent, so this move of hers wouldn't be discovered by anyone. Sima Yuyu heard what she said and nodded, saying, since that's the case, then you have to be more ruthless. Okay. Little Dream smiled and replied. She would do it even if her master didn't say it. All right, everyone should return to the house. Sima Yuyu said. They won't act until tomorrow. At the same time, Lian Zhe went to the main hall. Greetings to the palace master and vice palace master. Lian Zhe bowed to the elder on the main seat. White-robed and white-bearded, it was the elder he saw in the first forbidden area. Lian Zhe, who were those people today? Palace Master Qing Yuan asked. Those are people I met when I was in the Lian clan. Lian Zhe told Qing Yuan about Sima Yuyu and the others, the contracted master of the King of the Rocks. I didn't expect her background to be so big. Qing Yuan said. They were the ones who had a conflict with Xia Ying and the others. Yes, Lian Zhe replied. At first, I was wondering if we could let her join our innumerable green palace, but it seems like that won't be possible. Qing Yuan said. Regarding Xia Ying's matter, Memory Restaurant's attitude is also a little unhappy. When we return, we'll have to send someone to apologize properly. Palace Master, forgive me for speaking bluntly, but the younger generation nowadays is indeed a little too arrogant. They use the innumerable green palace's name to bully others outside, and there are already many people who are unhappy with us. Regarding Xia Ying's matter, it's a good thing that Yue and the others have good temperaments. If they met someone who wasn't easy to talk to, they would have directly brought the four-winged rocks to seek justice. Even if it wouldn't be as serious as exterminating the sect, the price they would have to pay would still be disastrous. The younger generation nowadays is indeed a little bad. When I was meditating in the first forbidden area, I heard them cursing below. They weren't thinking about what they did wrong, but how to seek revenge after they came out. The hatred in their hearts is what keeps them going. Qing Yuan said. In this aspect, they can't compare to Sima Yuyu's awareness. These few years, our sect has been developing rapidly, and many people have forgotten to be vigilant in times of peace. This isn't a good sign. The Vice Palace Master also frowned and said, the innumerable green palace will have to be handed over to the younger generation in the future. If they don't develop well, I'm afraid our innumerable green palace will be in trouble in the future. we will definitely go downhill. It's time to change the atmosphere in the palace. Qing Yuan said. I'll leave this matter to the two of you. Yes, Palace Master. The two of them replied in unison. Since we've received an invitation to the auction next month, let's go and take a look. We have to give face to the Xian Yuan Pavilion. Qing Yuan said. Then who should we send? The Vice Palace Master asked. I'll go personally. It'll be enough to bring a few other people. Qing Yuan said. Why don't Lian Zhe ignore the matter of cleaning up the atmosphere for now, and choose someone else to do it? Lian Zhe, you'll come with me to the auction. Yes, Palace Master. I feel that we can bring the younger generation with us to broaden their horizons. The Vice Palace Master said. They're the pillars of the innumerable Green Palace. It'll be good for them to broaden their horizons. On the morning of the second day, a servant girl came to Sima Yu's courtyard. When the servant girl came, she bowed to Sima Yu and the others, saying, Esteemed guests, the Palace Master invites you in. Sima Yu raised an eyebrow and exchanged glances with Bei Gong Tang and the others. Since the Palace Master has invited us, let's go and pay our respects. Chapter 481. Crazy Wife. The fifth miss of the Divine Doctor. Sima Yue and the other four followed the servant girl and left the house, heading towards the third forbidden area. If it were not for the fact that Lian Zhe had brought them here before, they wouldn't even know that they were in front of the third forbidden area. Your Palace Master lives in such a secluded place? Sima Yue saw that they were already in front of the third forbidden area and asked intentionally. The servant girl didn't look flustered at all and said, Our Palace Master likes peace and quiet, so he lives far away. Oh, it's in the valley in front. There aren't any buildings here. Does your Palace Master live in a cave? Ouyang Fei said. Yes. The servant girl replied. Are we going the wrong way? Sima Yue stood still. How could it be? The servant girl's eyes flashed with panic as she forced a smile, saying, The Palace Master is in front. Let's go quickly. Otherwise, if we drag it out for too long, the Palace Master will be unhappy. That's true. You're a servant girl of the innumerable Green Palace, so you definitely know the way. Let's continue. Sima Yue said. The servant girl saw that Sima Yue had said this and her expression relaxed, saying, Okay, let's go. When they arrived at the barrier in front of the forbidden area, the servant girl took out a token. What is this? The Palace Master likes peace and quiet. In order to prevent outsiders from disturbing him, he set up a barrier here. If you want to enter, you have to use this to open the barrier. The servant girl explained. So that's how it is. Sima Yue and the others didn't expose her and followed her in. After entering the barrier, they walked a few tens of meters before the servant girl stopped and said, The area in front is where the Palace Master lives. We don't have the right to enter. Esteemed guests, please enter on your own. After speaking, she turned around to leave. However, when she turned around, she saw Sima Yulin and Ouyang Fei standing behind her, looking at her meaningfully. Are you Wu Qiaoqiao's personal servant girl? Sima Yue asked with a smile. The maidservant was shocked. They actually knew her identity. Wu Qiaoqiao was afraid that Xia Zhong's men would not be able to handle this matter well, so she changed the person at the last minute this morning. She asked you to bring us to the third forbidden area. Sima Yue said. Seeing the shock on the servant girl's face, she smiled happily. What are you talking about? The Palace Master is still waiting for you inside. You'd better go in quickly. The maid tried her best to keep her expression normal, but unfortunately, her gaze still revealed her current emotions. All right, we're already here. What are you trying to hide? Sima Yue said. Do you think we don't know that this is the third forbidden area? We came here yesterday. The maidservant looked at Sima Yue in shock. Since they knew about this place, why did they still follow him? Are you wondering why you're here? You'll know in a while. She smiled mysteriously. A few minutes later, Sima Yue stood outside the spirit barrier while the others stayed inside. Furthermore, she did not look like her original self. She had fused with Thousand Resonance and changed her appearance. She looked exactly the same as the maidservant. Half an hour later, Xiaozhong came here. Greetings to the palace master. The maidservant bowed to Xiaozhong. Xiaozhong saw that there was only the maidservant here. The others were all inside the spirit barrier. There were obvious signs of a fight inside the spirit barrier. There was someone lying down in the distance. Bei Gongtang was squatting beside that person with her back facing him. Xiaozhong guessed that someone was injured and was being taken care of. Ouyang Fei and Sima Yulin looked at them angrily and asked, "Who are you? Why do you want to harm us?" "Who am I? I am Xia Yingying's father, the palace master of the Red River Palace." Xiaozhong said, "My daughter was punished by being confined for a year because of you. As her father, I naturally have to seek justice for her." "Xia Yingying's father?" Sima Yulin snorted coldly. "With someone like you who can't tell right from wrong, it's not surprising that you would raise someone like that." It was clearly Xia Yingying and the others who were in the wrong first and wanted to capture us. We were merely teaching her a lesson, but even her parents were called over. "You really dote on your daughter?" Ouyang Fei mocked. "She's my daughter. I naturally have to dote on her." Xiaozhong said. "What do you want to do? Kill us?" Ouyang Fei asked. "What do I want to do? Actually, I don't want to do much." Xiaozhong said. "This is our third forbidden area. There are many ferocious beasts inside. If you can stay here for 2 days and not die, then I will spare your lives and release you as a punishment for trespassing into the forbidden area. The palace master will definitely spare your lives, since you are guests. But if you die here, it's your own fate. There are so many fierce beasts in the third forbidden area. You let us stay here for 2 days, and even plotted against us, making us trespassers. As the palace master, is this how you treat your guests? Aren't you afraid that the innumerable Green Palace will punish you if they find out? Just don't let them know." Xiaozhong said disapprovingly. "If we can survive, we will definitely tell the truth in front of the palace master." Sima Yulin said coldly. "Ha ha ha!" Xiaozhong laughed loudly, saying, "Do you think anyone will believe you? I am the palace master of the innumerable Green Palace, and you are just guests. Will they believe me or will they believe you?" Soaring Cloud Palace. Lian Zhe and the palace master discussed for an entire night before returning. He thought that Sima Yu and the others might have woken up, so he came over to take a look. He met Chou Xiaotian on the way, and the two of them went to the courtyard together. "No one. Where did they go so early in the morning?" Lian Zhe called the servants over, but the servants said that they didn't know where they went. Buzz buzz buzz. 2 bees flew in front of Lian Zhe and Chou Xiaotian. "These are Yu's bees." Chou Xiaotian recognized them at a glance. Buzz buzz buzz. The 2 scarlet bees spun a few times in front of the two of them, then flew out of the courtyard. "They've flown away. Oh, they're flying back? They want us to follow them." Chou Xiaotian understood what the scarlet bees meant, and brought Lian Zhe along to follow them. The scarlet bees brought them all the way to the third forbidden area. From afar, they saw Xiaozhong, Wei Ziqi and the others facing each other. "Oh no, they've entered the forbidden area." Lian Zhe saw where they were and cried out as he flew over. "Xiaozhong, what do you want to do?" Xiaozhong didn't think that Lian Zhe would come so quickly. Those beasts hadn't come out yet. However, since he had come, they couldn't wait for another 2 days. They could only punish them for trespassing. "You came just in time. I caught 4 people trespassing in the third forbidden area. I heard that they are your guests. What do you think we should do about this?" Chapter 482. A moment later, a blue firework bloomed in the sky above the third forbidden area. When the people of the innumerable Green Palace saw the firework, they all went to report to their palace masters. Colorful fireworks are rising above the third forbidden area? Although the various palace masters had doubts in their hearts, as long as they were not in seclusion, they all rushed towards the third forbidden land. The blue fireworks were the signal to summon all the palace masters. The palace masters rushed to the third forbidden area, and saw that the vice palace master had already arrived, together with Lian Zhe and Xiaozhong. Opposite them, a few strangers were in the third forbidden area. All the palace masters were enraged and scolded. "Who dares to trespass into the forbidden area?" All right, all the hall masters who can make it have arrived. Lianze said. Lianza, what's going on? The vice palace master asked. What are you doing here? Replying to vice palace master, Xia Zhong wanted to frame Yue and the others. He got people to bring them into the forbidden grounds and wanted to let the vicious beasts kill them. If they were lucky enough to survive, he would also let the innumerable green palace punish them for trespassing into the forbidden grounds. Lianze said. The vice palace master looked at Xia Zhong and said, Is that so? Vice palace master, this morning, I had Qiao Qiao's servant girl take my command tablet to do something. But she had yet to return, so I followed the aura of the command tablet to find this place. I didn't expect to see them holding my maidservant hostage the moment I arrived. They had already entered the forbidden area. Xia Zhong argued. This was the excuse that Wu Qiaoqiao had given him a long time ago to deal with this kind of situation. The deputy palace master looked at Sima Yue and the others. Was one of them the contracted master of the King of Rocks? What do you think? He asked, looking at them. Of course they would say the same thing as Palace Master Lian. They are on the same side after all. Xia Zhong said. Some of the later hall masters agreed with Lianze, while some believed in Xia Zhong. Their attitudes towards Sima Yue were completely different. Vice Palace Master, before I answer your question, let me ask you something. If the truth is as Palace Master Lian said, what will Palace Master Xia do? If what Palace Master Xia said is true, what will happen to us? Sima Yue asked. Half an hour ago Lianze found this place. Then, when Xia Zhong was not paying attention, she entered the forbidden area and restored her appearance. Bei Gong Tang also stood up and walked back. Only then did Xia Zhong realize that the person on the ground was Wu Qiaoqiao's servant girl. After that, she requested for Lianze to gather everyone from the innumerable green palace. After that, she didn't speak again. The vice palace master said without hesitation, If what Palace Master Lian said is true, then Palace Master Xia framed a guest, and is no longer suitable to be a palace master. If what Palace Master Xia has said is true, you will be punished by the innumerable green palace. The specific punishment will have to be discussed. Sima Yue nodded and said, Since everyone is here, I'm sure the innumerable green palace will not be biased. Bei Gong, you do it. Bei Gong Tang took out a sound stone and inserted her spiritual power into it. Everything that Xia Zhong had just said to them was clearly recorded. The vice palace master's face turned darker and darker, while Xia Zhong's face turned paler and paler. Vice palace master, I think that in front of the evidence, we don't need to say anything more, right? Sima Yue said, Little Rock, tell me, do you think we should make a big deal out of this? Little Rock appeared in front of everyone. Although nobody had seen the golden-winged rock before, they had all heard of it. She is the golden-winged rock's contracted master? The bird clan's internal strife has already ended. All the bird clans are under the golden-winged rock's rule. If they launch an attack on us, wouldn't we be in danger? How did Xia Zhong provoke such a person? Little Rock transformed into his human form and stood beside Sima Yue, coldly looking at the people from the innumerable green palace. You dare to touch this king's contracted master. The innumerable green palace is really something. If you don't give us a satisfactory explanation today, this king doesn't mind breaking the agreement between the human clan and the beast clan, and having all the bird clans come out in full force. Otherwise, everyone will think that this king's contracted master is easy to bully. Little Rock spoke very seriously. He wasn't just putting on an act. Although he knew that Sima Yue didn't want to borrow the strength of the bird clan, he didn't want her to suffer any grievances. An old man with a white beard flew over and landed in front of everyone. It was Qing Yuan. Greetings to the palace master. Everyone bowed towards Qing Yuan. Xia Zhong framed an esteemed guest and disregarded a life because of a small matter. His character has already changed, and he is no longer suitable to be the palace master of the Red River Palace. Qing Yuan said, Today he will be stripped of his position as palace master and thrown into jail. He will be punished another day. The palace masters didn't think that he would really be dismissed just like that. They were all stunned. Qing Yuan looked at Sima Yue and asked, Are you satisfied with this? Sima Yue didn't think that this kind-looking old man would be the palace master of the innumerable green palace. She raised her eyebrows and said, "How Xiazhong is treated is your innumerable green palace's internal affairs. However, to me, I came to your innumerable green palace as a guest and almost lost my life. We will make it up to you." Qing Yuan's beard trembled. "Since that's the case, then take out your compensation first. If Little Rock isn't satisfied, then I can't do anything about it." Sima Yue spread out her hands, as if it had nothing to do with her. "Naturally, you will be satisfied with the compensation," Qing Yuan said. "However, if you continue to stay here, the ferocious beasts inside will come out and you will be in danger." Sima Yue thought about it. After all, this was other people's territory. If they went overboard, they might lose more than they gained. After all, the innumerable green palace was a great sect. If they really fought, they might not be able to come out unscathed. "All right then, I'll believe you this time." After speaking, she took Xiazhong's token and let everyone out. "Then let's go to the main hall and discuss the compensation," Qing Yuan said. Sima Yue smiled and said, "Palace Master Lian and I can be considered friends. How can I really ask you to compensate us? We also suffered quite a bit of shock today. If there's nothing else, we want to go back and rest." Qing Yuan's beard trembled again. This guy was actually using this trick again. He was retreating in order to advance. Although he said that there was no need to discuss it, they did not dare to be negligent. They had to give more compensation. If they were not satisfied with it, wouldn't they find trouble with the innumerable green palace? Little fox. Not long after Sima Yue and the others returned to the soaring cloud palace, the vice palace master personally came over with the compensation. He said a bunch of good words, and then gave her an interspatial ring. Sima Yue did not look at the things inside. She waited until the vice palace master left before she sent a strand of divine sense into it. When she saw the things inside, she smiled satisfactorily, and then gave the interspatial ring to Bei Gong Tang and the others. When they saw the things inside, they smiled as well. On the second day, Lian Zhe came over and said that the teleportation array was ready. Sima Yue and the others decided to leave immediately. Chou Xiaotian said that he wanted to go with them, but was rejected by Yue. If they went there, they would definitely call the others out. If they saw Fatty Chu and the others, the matter of the spirit pagoda would be exposed. Thus, under Chou Xiaotian's resentful gaze, they stepped onto the teleportation array to the central region. Chapter 483. Autumn Moon City was a city in the central region that wasn't particularly large, but its status in the central region wasn't low. This was because there were two alchemy clans here, one in the south and one in the north. The two clans had produced many geniuses, and their relationship had been very good in the past. However, in recent years, their relationship had taken a turn for the worse, and there was a tendency for them to fight to the death. The family in the south of the city was surnamed Bei Gong, while the family in the north of the city was surnamed Yin. In terms of strength, the Yin clan was higher than the Bei Gong clan, because they had a secret technique that could raise the grade of pills. When it came to pills of the same grade, the Yin clan's effect was slightly better than the Bei Gong clan's. The current head of the Bei Gong clan was called Bei Gong Xiong. He could be considered Bei Gong Tang's great-grandfather, and her father, Bei Gong Ao's grandfather. The Bei Gong clan had always been very interested in the Yin clan's secret technique, but the Yin clan kept it a secret and never spread it out. Even if they watched them refine pills, they couldn't tell what was different. Thus, for more than 20 years, they schemed to make Bei Gong Tang's mother, Yin Lan, fall in love with Bei Gong Ao. She disregarded her family's objections and married him. Within a few years, she gave birth to Bei Gong Tang and her younger brother, Bei Gong Hang. But even so, Yin Lan didn't reveal the Yin clan's secret technique. Bei Gong Ao originally did not like Yin Lan, but he liked Gu Yin Er, the daughter of the Earth Palace's palace master. The two of them were in love with each other and had reached the point of marriage. However, because Yin Lan's status in the Yin family wasn't low, he couldn't have other women before marrying her. so he never married Gu Yin. After a few years, Baigong Ao's patience ran out. After an argument, he turned around and married Gu Xer. At the end of the year, they had a daughter, Baigong. The Earth Palace was the largest sect in Autumn Moon City, and Gu Yin was the daughter of the palace master. Naturally, her status in the Baigong clan was different. In addition, Baigong-Yi's talent in alchemy was not bad, so the Baigong clan treated her like a treasure. Gu Yin was originally very unhappy about Baigong Ao marrying Yin Lan, so she squeezed out her position as the main wife, and even abused the three of them. Towards this, the members of the Baigong clan all turned a blind eye, because they were unable to obtain the Yin clan's secret technique. The difference in status between Yin Lan and Gu Yin was like the difference between heaven and earth. On the other hand, Yin Lan did not receive the support of her family when she married into the Baigong family. Therefore, even if she was wronged by the Baigong family, she would not complain to the family. Who would have thought that Gu Yin's mistreatment of them would escalate to house arrest? It was also to prevent them from notifying the Yin family and causing trouble for the Baigong family. This Yin family was also a big clan. If they really caused trouble, it wouldn't be easy to settle it. Afterwards, Baigong Tang escaped with the help of her uncle. Afterwards, she escaped to the Yilin continent with the help of Mengji. Mengji also fell into a deep sleep. Speaking of her own uncle, Baigong Tang's tone was the most gentle. He was the only one who treated her and her mother well. Mengji was secretly given to her by him. However, when she thought about how he had gotten injured in order to help her escape, she wondered how he was doing now. In an inn in Autumn Moon City, everyone came out. After hearing Baigong Tang's story, everyone felt sorry for her. In the past, I lived in the backyard of the Baigong family. We were guarded day and night, so my knowledge of the outside world was limited to Baigong Ao and the others. At that time, I didn't even go to the front yard of the Baigong family. Furthermore, because others were at least spirit overlords when they were born, and I was only a spirit knight, I was always treated like trash. You were just born at a lower level than others, but your talent is really good. I dare to believe that you are definitely more powerful than that Baigong heir. Fatty Chu said. All this time, Baigong Tang didn't talk much about her past. Although they knew that she had escaped, they didn't know that she had lived such a miserable life. You've already left for more than 10 years. We don't know what the situation is like here either. You should stay here. We'll go out and gather some information. We'll tell you when we come back. Wei Ziqi said. Baigong, have you thought of looking for the Yin family? Sima Yu asked. Baigong Tang shook her head, saying, the Yin family and the Baigong family are in the same city. Even if the Baigong family intentionally hid information about us, the Yin family would be able to find out as long as they wanted to. However, they didn't. This means that they no longer treat us as family. At that time, Mother didn't ask the Yin family for help, so I naturally wouldn't acknowledge them. What if they were like the Lien family back then, and the news was intercepted? Sima Yulo asked. Baigong Tang was stunned. She had never thought of this possibility. In her mind, she hated the Yin family. She had never thought of this possibility. Lian Hong's situation is different from mine. His father was chased out of the family, and he lived far away. However, the Yin family and Baigong family are in the same city. As long as they have the heart, how could this happen? Everyone thought about it. What she said made sense, so they didn't say anything else. Sang Muyu stepped forward and hugged Baigong Tang, saying, "You're a good child. Your mother and younger brother are definitely alive, waiting for you to come back and save them. Auntie, I'll have to trouble you to stay here and accompany Baigong. We'll split up and gather some information about the Baigong family." Sima Yu said, "Little two, stay here and accompany Baigong." "Okay, go ahead," Sang Muyu said. Little two nodded seriously, saying, "Big brother, don't worry. I will protect big sister Baigong." "Okay, then let's go out," Sima Yu said to everyone. After leaving the inn, everyone split up and went to different places to inquire for information. Because the Baigong family, the Yin family, and the Earth Palace were the three leaders here, their affairs had always been talked about enthusiastically. It was not difficult to get information about them. Of course, some information would be treated as forbidden areas. Everyone would keep such information a secret. Yin Lan and Bei Gong Tang belonged to this category. Many people stopped talking when they heard Yin Lan and the others' names. After going out for a round, everyone didn't get any substantial information. Sima Yu released a few hundred scarlet bees and let them disguise themselves as normal bees. They went to different places to gather information. Most of them went to the three big powers. At night, Sima Yu was talking to Bei Gong Tang. Suddenly her body trembled. Her eyes flashed with disbelief. After a moment of silence, she looked at Bei Gong Tang sadly. Did something happen to my mother and the others? Bei Gong Tang looked at Sima Yu's expression, and her heart sank. Sima Yu didn't know how to say it. It was as if she didn't even have the courage to speak at this moment. You just say it. I can take it. Although Bei Gong Tang said this, the hand holding the cup was trembling. Bei Gong, your uncle died after saving you that year. Your mother and brother also died a few years ago. Bei Gong Tang's face was ashen. She didn't even feel the tea in the cup that she had just poured into her wound. Sima Yu looked at Bei Gong Tang's expression and said anxiously, Bei Gong, this is only the information that we got from the Yin family. Maybe this is information that the Bei Gong family deliberately released. Chapter 484. Bei Gong Tang grabbed onto Sima Yu's hand as tears streamed down her face uncontrollably. Is what you said true? My mother and the others are still alive? Sima Yu looked at her and didn't know how to answer her. Bei Gong, Yue said that the news came from the Yin family. Perhaps the Bei Gong family released it on purpose. We should wait for the news from the other two sides before coming to a conclusion. Wei Ziqi said. If the other two families had other discoveries, then they might still be alive. If the other two parties were also like this, it meant that this news should be true. Then Bei Gong Tang would have so much time to prepare herself. Sima Yue then called out close to 1,000 scarlet bees and asked them to gather more information, especially if there was anything unusual about the Bei Gong family. These scarlet bees all understood her feelings. They were very attentive and diligent in their investigation. They were also very diligent, looking carefully to see if there was anything special about the Bei Gong clan. Unexpectedly, in the end, they really did discover some clues. Bei Gong, did you guys used to live in a dilapidated courtyard near the back of the mountain? There was a plum blossom tree to the right of the courtyard, right? Sima Yue asked. Bei Gong Tang looked at her. Did you find my mother and younger brother? Don't worry, they didn't notice your mother and the rest. Sima Yue said. But they said that there's something strange about the courtyard. What's wrong? Bei Gong Tang did not understand. That courtyard is very simple. Other than 3 rooms and a courtyard, there's nothing else. The scarlet bees said that there was no one living in that courtyard, but there was a medicinal fragrance floating in the air. Medicinal fragrance. Bei Gong Tang was stunned. In the past, Bei Gong Ao always forced my mother to refine pills, so our courtyard was always filled with the fragrance of medicine. However, the news that the Yin family received was that your mother had already died a few years ago. Then how could there still be a medicinal fragrance? Sima Yu said. You're saying that my mother is still alive? Bei Gong Tang looked at her hopefully. I can only say that it's possible. Sima Yue said. I'll ask them to investigate further. Let's wait for 2 days and see. All right. Bei Gong Tang clasped her hands together, showing how nervous she was. Sima Yue reached out and held her hands. If something really happened to your mother, we will definitely make the Bei Gong family and the Earth Palace pay the price. Even if I have to borrow Little Rock's or Divine Devil Valley's power, I will turn them upside down. Yes, Yue is right. Fatty Chu chimed in from the side. No matter what happens, we will always be by your side. Thank you. Bei Gong Tang looked at her and forced a smile. She wanted to tell everyone that she was fine, and that there was no need to worry. After waiting anxiously for 2 days, good news finally came. Yin Lan and Bei Gong Heng were most likely still alive, but they might have been completely imprisoned. Hearing this news, Beigong Tang was both happy and worried. She was happy that her mother and younger brother could still be alive, but she was worried about the few years she was not around. What exactly did they experience? Why did the Beigong clan tell the Ying clan that they were already dead? After a few days, the news was thoroughly investigated. Yin Wan and Beigong Heng were still alive, but they were imprisoned in the small courtyard's dungeon. Beigong Tang did not know when the courtyard had a dungeon, but she was still very happy to know that her mother and younger brother were still alive. Then why did the Beigong clan say that my mother and the rest are already dead? This news just came from the Ying clan. They said that a few years ago your uncle came back. He knew that your mother married into the Beigong clan. So he went to the Beigong clan and said that he wanted to see your mother. The Beigong clan did not get the Ying clan's secret method. If your uncle knew about your mother and the rest, it would definitely cause trouble. So he told them that you were already dead. Sima Yue said, I did hear my mother mention it before. She said that she had a good relationship with an uncle, and he was very talented. He had already left home for many years. She said that he was taken away by a power in the central regions. Beigong Tang said, Now we have to think of a way to save your mother and younger brother. Fatty Chu said, But if we just go up and ask for them, the Beigong clan will definitely deny it. Ouyang Fei said, We have to find them first, so that the Beigong clan has no way to deny it. Sima Yulin said, We really have to find them first. However, the Beigong clan's security is very tight. That courtyard looks like there's no one outside, and it's an abandoned courtyard. However, there are many guards secretly watching it. Sima Yue told them the news that the Scarlet Bees sent. I'll get the Scarlet Bees to find the exact location first. Okay. Another day passed. The Scarlet Queen Bee said that there was no way to find out the exact situation in the basement. Because there was a barrier, they could not enter. This is troublesome, Sima Yuming said. If they could not find them, they would have no way to ask the Beigong clan for them. We can only enter the Beigong clan to find them, Sima Yue said. But you said it yourself. There are many people secretly watching that place. Even if we go, we will be discovered. It will be very dangerous, Fatty Chu said. That's why we have to think of a foolproof plan. A few days later, a group of people went to the Beigong clan. They were led to the main hall of the Beigong clan, and were personally received by the clan leader. I didn't know that the Goshawk King had arrived. Please forgive me for not going out to meet you. Please take a seat and serve tea. Beigong Xiong said to the leader. Beigong clan leader is too courteous. The Goshawk King cupped his hands to Beigong Xiong, and sat in the guest seat. The people who came with him sat in the seats below. The maidservant quickly brought up the tea. I wonder why the Goshawk King has come personally? Beigong Xiong asked. The Goshawk clan lived in a mountain range 100,000 miles away from Autumn Moon City. However, they never interacted with humans. The Goshawk King almost never appeared in the human world. That was why when the guard said that the Goshawk King had come personally, the entire Beigong clan was surprised. It's like this. This is a friend of our Goshawk clan. Because he saved our clansmen before, we promised to help him. The Goshawk King pointed to a white-clothed man below, saying, A few days ago, he came to our clan and asked for our precious Buddha lotus. He said that he wanted to refine a pill. This king was afraid that the Buddha lotus would be stolen midway, because of how precious it is. That's why I came along. As for why I chose your Beigong clan, it's because we just happened to come in from the south gate, and you're closer. If you can't refine the pill that he wants, we'll go to the one in the north. Beigong Xiong looked at the white-clothed man. He had delicate features and looked rather young. Who would have thought that he would have such a great relationship with the Goshawk clan? Chapter 485. May I know your name, young master? Beigong Xiong asked the man in white. See you. Sima Yue randomly thought of a name. That's right. The person following the Goshawk King was Sima Yue. A few days ago, just as they were thinking of how to go to the Beigong clan without arousing the other party's suspicion, Little Peng suddenly stood up, pushed open the window and looked outside, saying, You, I have an idea. What is it? Just now, I felt the aura of the bird clan. Little Rock said. Wait here, we'll go out for a while. Sima Yu's eyes lit up. After saying that, she and Little Peng went out. Not long after, the Sun Mother Stone reacted. There's a Goshawk clan nearby. Let's take a look first. If possible, we'll get them to bring us to the Baigong clan. Wait for our news. Sima Yu's voice came from the Mother Sun Stone. Are you going alone? How about we go with you? Sima Lai said worriedly. Grandpa, wait for me in the city. Maybe I'll need you to make some arrangements. Sima Yue said. Don't worry, Little Rock is their king. We'll be fine. After saying that, she cut off the previous contact with them. They stopped 2 transformed vultures outside the city and found out that there were vultures here. They were not too far away, so they planned to ask the Vulture King for help. If a fight really broke out, he might need their help. The fact that Little Rock had evolved into a golden-winged rock was something that everyone in the bird world knew about. All the birds in the outer circle had received the news through special channels. However, because it was too far away, the birds in other places did not go to pay their respects. Sima Yue and Little Rock went to the Goshawk tribe, and the Goshawk King led his tribesmen to pay their respects. Goshawk King, we have encountered a problem, and we would like to ask for your help. Sima Yue went straight to the point. If we can do it, just let us know. The Goshawk King said. Sima Yue explained the situation to me. She said that she hoped to use the Goshawk tribe to enter the Baigong family and create an opportunity for me to stay and find someone. That's no problem, the Goshawk King said. Also, I want you to sneak outside Autumn Moon City. If we encounter any problems, you can help. That's not a problem. Then I'll have to trouble you. Sima Yue didn't think that this Goshawk King would be so easy to talk to despite looking a little cold. That was why the Goshawk King brought Sima Yue to the Baigong family. Bei Gongxiong looked at Sima Yue, who was so calm. Her aura was not something an ordinary person could possess. Furthermore, the Goshawk King had personally escorted her. Her status was definitely not low. She might even be from the central region. He smiled and asked, I wonder what kind of pill young Master Siyu wants us to refine. Monarch Breaking Pill. Sima Yue said. The Monarch Breakthrough Pill had similar effects as the Divinity Breakthrough Pill, but the target was different. The Divinity Pill was used to allow people to break through from the spirit level to the divine level. The Monarch Breaking Pill was used to allow people from the divine level to advance to the Monarch level. Monarch Breaking Pill? Hearing this pill, the Bei Gongxiong family sucked in a breath. Sima Yue nodded and said, Can you refine it? Bei Gongao said, We can't. Sima Yue frowned. Why? Because the Monarch Breaking Pill's recipe has been lost for a long time. Even if it's us, we can't refine it for you without the recipe. Bei Gongao said. Hearing this, Sima Yue relaxed and said, The recipe is not a problem. I have it. You have it? Sima Yue said. I've seen the recipe. It's an 8th-tier pill. As long as you have an 8th-tier alchemist, it's fine. We have 8th-tier alchemists. Bei Gongao said. But the higher the level, the lower the success rate. Our alchemists have never practiced before, so we don't know if they can succeed. If we don't succeed in the end, I'm afraid we won't be able to answer to you. Sima Yue sighed and said, I'm also an alchemist. I know the rules of the alchemy world. To be honest, I didn't prepare a lot of ingredients. I only managed to gather 30% of the ingredients. That's why I went to look for the Buddha lotus. You know that other than its effects, it can also increase the success rate of the pill. I have no other choice now. That person in my family doesn't have much time left. The only way to extend his life is to reach the monarch level as soon as possible. Then when do you plan to refine it? Bei Gongao asked as he thought about which family or sect was suitable for this. We still have to wait for 2 more days. Sima Yue said. Because the last ingredient will only mature in 2 more days. When that time comes, someone will contact me and send it to me. I'm here to scout ahead. Since that's the case, then you can stay in my residence for 2 days. Once the ingredients are sent over, we'll start refining the pill. Bei Gongao said. All right, no matter if the pill refining is a success or not, we'll pay you handsomely. Sima Yue said. Bei Gongao didn't have much of a demand for this. Since the other party was an alchemist, he would naturally know the minimum price for each grade of alchemist. He wouldn't go back on his word. Moreover, the other party was brought here by the Goshawk King. It wasn't appropriate for him to raise his price. Now that the other party had said so, the reward would definitely not be small. Young master, see you. If you're sure that you want to refine the pill here, can you give us the pill formula first? We'll need to study it to increase the success rate. Sima Yue was a little hesitant. This was a lost pill formula. If she gave it to the other party, it would be gone. She wouldn't have it anymore. Bei Gongao saw Sima Yue's reaction and understood. If it was him, he would also hesitate. After all, this wasn't a small matter. However, in the end, Sima Yue still took out a pill formula. The ancient paper showed that this pill formula was from a long time ago. It definitely wasn't fake. We'll have to trouble clan head Bei Gongao. Sima Yue solemnly handed the pill formula to Bei Gongao. I'll get them to study this pill formula properly, Bei Gongao said. I'll get them to bring you guys to rest first. All right. The Goshawk King was very picky about where to stay. He didn't like the noise outside, so Bei Gongao brought them to a courtyard at the back. The Goshawk King said that if they wanted to be near the mountain, they just had to find a courtyard near the mountain. Thus, he arranged a courtyard near the back of the mountain for them. Sima Yue thought about the location of this courtyard that Bei Gongtang had told her about before. She realized that this place wasn't very far from where they used to live. You guys can leave. Our king doesn't like humans coming close. A goshawk waved at the person leading the way and said. Everyone knew that the Goshawk King didn't like to interact with humans, so they didn't suspect anything and left. When Bei Gongao received the news, he ordered those people to not go near that area. Chapter 486. At night, a black shadow the size of a fist came out from the courtyard. The shadow flew while muttering softly. Really, she's such a beautiful Mao Mao, but you actually made it black. When we go back, you must compensate me. What do you mean I can completely restrain my aura? I'm the most suitable person for this mission. I think Yu is just unhappy that I was teasing Beauty Sang. Tui, chatting with Beauty Sang. Little Roar quickly flew along the ground, and quickly found the courtyard that Bei Gongtang and the others were living in. Seeing the dilapidated state of the courtyard, Little Roar felt indignant for Bei Gongtang. This Bei Gong family is too annoying. How is this a place for humans to live? Those houses are so crooked that they're about to collapse. Everything is in tatters. Only that plum blossom tree is still in good condition. I can't imagine how Bei Gong and the others live here. The Bei Gong family really owes them a lot. We'll see what Bei Gong has to say when the time comes. If they want to seek justice, we'll support them. Sima Yue said. Did you see that basement? Not yet. I haven't entered the house yet. Little Roar said. I'll let the bee bring me in. All right. Wait a minute, find a place to hide. Sima Yue said hurriedly. Little Roar did not know why, but he still quickly hid on the roof and lay down. After a while, a man came out of the house and stood in the courtyard for a while. A woman followed him out of the house. Husband, that bitch still doesn't want to say it. You've already seen her concoct pills thousands of times. Can't you see her method? Guyan Air walked to Bei Gong's side and said. Little Roar laid on the roof and lifted his round head to look down. Although he could only see the backs of the two people, he could tell that the two of them did indeed have some good looks. At the very least, their figures were not bad. The Ying clan's alchemy is too strange. I followed her refining process, but the pills I refined were not as good as hers. Bei Gongao said. We can't go on like this. Guyan Air was a little unhappy. Are you really doing this for the Ying clan's secret alchemy technique? Or are you actually reluctant to part with that slut? Bei Gongao hugged Guyan Air and said gently. What are you talking about? Do you still not understand why I did it all these years? But if she doesn't say anything, are you going to keep her? Guyan Air asked. And that kid, he was clearly our bargaining chip to threaten her. Yet he became her bargaining chip to threaten us. That's not right. Just looking at them makes me unhappy. Silly Yin'er. Bei Gongao hugged her and walked forward, coaxing her. I only have you in my heart. And you're still jealous. How about this? Give her another 2 years. If she still refuses to talk to us after 2 years, I'll get rid of her and her son. What do you think? That's what you said. If she's still alive in 2 years, I'll end her myself. Don't blame me when the time comes. Good, good, good. The two of them chatted as they walked away. When Little Roar heard their conversation, he was so angry that he almost fell from the roof. These two bad people. I'll definitely teach you a lesson when we get back. He came down from the roof. 2 bees flew over and brought him into the house before landing in a corner. It's here. Little Roar flew over and tapped on the spot where the bees stopped. An underground passage appeared in front of him. Buzz, 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 dash, the bees flew in front of Little Roar. You're saying that they're down here? Little Roar looked at the pitch-black underground passage and said, I'm most afraid of the dark. It looks really scary down here. Buzz, 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 dash. One of the scarlet bees flew down, but was stopped by the enchantment of the passage. There's actually an enchantment. Little Roar said, Come follow me down. As he said that, he stretched out his claws and hugged the 2 scarlet bees in his arms before flying down the passage. It's so dark. Little Roar flew forward based on his instincts. Only when he reached the end did he see a dungeon. There were 2 prison cells. One of them had a man lying in it, while the other had a woman sitting in the corner. A dim yellow lamp was in the corner, emitting a helpless light. Little Roar did not go out immediately. Instead, he observed in the darkness. However, the 2 of them seemed to be lifeless. Neither of them spoke. Until Little Roar was about to lose his patience, a hoarse voice came from the ground. You really have no way of contacting them? Does the Een clan really not care about us? After not speaking for a long time, the man seemed to have lost his ability to speak. Een Lan did not say anything. She was already exhausted from refining the pill. That man, I think he's about to lose his patience. Even if you use your life to save mine, we should be reaching the end. Bei Gong Hang sat up from the ground and said, I don't know where sister is now and how she's doing. If we died, would she know? I'm sorry, Hang Air. If I had let you go back then, you wouldn't have been locked up here with me for so many years. Een Lan said, Mother, if the one who left back then was me, I'm afraid that the 3 of us would have died long ago. Bei Gong Hang leaned against the wall and looked at the dark wall. It was as if he could look at the sky like this. However, looking at that woman's expression, I'm afraid that she won't be able to bear with us for much longer. After being locked up for so many years, if we could really die, it would be a form of release. Een Lan looked at Bei Gong Hang guiltily. Mother has let you down the most in this life. Mother, do you think that sister will suddenly come back and save us? Bei Gong Hang did not have the fear of facing death. Thinking of what he said, he laughed in disbelief. Even if sister survives, she wouldn't be able to cultivate so much in such a short period of time and come back to find us. I only hope that she will be able to take revenge for us when she comes back. Little Roar heard enough and flew to the front of the prison. He blinked his big eyes and asked, Are you Een Lan and Bei Gong Hang? Een Lan and Bei Gong Hang were shocked by the sudden appearance of the black dust ball. How did this thing suddenly appear in front of them? Who are you? Bei Gong Hang looked at Little Roar cautiously. I'm Little Roar. Are you Een Lan and Bei Gong Hang? Little Roar asked again. Yes. Were you sent by that woman to kill us? Bei Gong Hang asked. Other than this possibility, he could not think of anyone else who could pass through the enchantment above and come here. However, that black dust ball-like body and sparkling big eyes did not have a single bit of killing intent. It did not look like it was here to kill people. It's good that you are. Little Roar took out a pendant from who knows where and asked, Do you recognize this thing? Een Lan saw that pendant and her mouth opened in shock. She covered her mouth in disbelief. Chapter 487. Seeing Een Lan's reaction, Little Roar knew that it was her. For mobile phone, please visit. Mother, isn't that elder sister's pendant? Bei Gong Hang also recognized the pendant and said excitedly. Een Lan came to the edge of the prison and reached out to take the pendant. Tang, or where is Tang? Little Roar placed the pendant into Inlan's hands and said, "Don't worry, Sister Beigong is still alive." "Where is she? Is it safe?" Beigong Heng asked. "She's in Autumn Moon City. She's only a few kilometers away from here." Little Roar said, "How could she come back? If those people find out, she'll be in danger." Inlan said anxiously, "Please tell her to leave and not stay here any longer." "You guys don't have to worry. Beigong is safe right now. We came back this time to save you guys." Little Roar said, "I just heard that adulterous couple say that they would kill you guys in 2 years at the latest. We have to get you out of here. I was too excited when I saw Tang-er's things. I haven't asked you yet. What's your relationship with Tang-er?" Inlan tried her best to regain her composure as she asked. "My master and Beigong are good friends. They grew up together." Little Roar said, "There are many of us here. We will definitely be able to save you." They had grown up together since they were 14 years old. "It's still not possible. The Beigong clan is too strong. It's too dangerous to save us." Inlan still didn't agree. "If possible, you should save Hanger. As long as I'm here, that man won't be too angry. After all, he just wants to get the secret technique from me. If I also go missing, then they will definitely spend a lot of effort and will definitely catch us before giving up. No, Mother. How can I run away by myself and let you bear all this alone?" Beigong Heng shook his head in disapproval. "I have to stay here and stall for time." Inlan said, "You've suffered so much with me all these years. I can't watch you die with me. Now that your sister is back, she should be able to guarantee your safety." "I don't agree. Stop fighting. My master said that no one can be left behind. All of you have to go out." Little Roar said, "However, this specific method can only be discussed after we find you and see your situation. That's why we need you to wait here for 2 days. Now my master has a question for you." Inlan saw the determination in her son's eyes and said, "Ask away. We will tell you everything we know." "All right. First question. When will that scumbag come again?" "Scumbag? It's that scum Beigong Ao. Anywhere from 5 to 10 days. He's only here tonight, which means he won't be here for the next 5 days, right?" "I think so." "All right, next question. How strong are the two of you now?" "I'm a mid-level god emperor. Hanger hasn't reached the god realm yet." Next, after Little Roar finished asking his question, he took out a bottle of pills from who knows where and gave it to Beigong Heng, saying, "This is to help you heal. When Guyan Air and Beigong Air were free, they would come and beat Beigong Heng up, so he had many new and old wounds on his body. Because Inlan had to refine pills, she did not suffer any physical injuries." "All right, I have to go back. I'll come back in 2 days. Otherwise, it'll be troublesome if they suddenly come. Sigh, it's so sad to be weak." Little Roar sighed after he finished speaking, and went back the way he came. After Little Roar left, Inlan and Beigong Heng looked at each other. If not for the pendant in Inlan's hand, and the pills in Beigong Heng's hand, they would definitely have thought that they were dreaming. "We were just talking about elder sister. Who knew that such a spirit beast would come? This is too mysterious." Beigong Heng said, "Tang-er is still alive. There's still her aura on this. I can feel it." Inlan held the pendant in front of her chest. "She's still alive. That's great." When Little Roar returned to Sima Yoyue's side, he told her what that scumbag man and scumbag woman said. This made Sima Yue extremely angry. After her anger subsided, she took out the mother-son stone and contacted the outside world. When Beigong Tang found out that her mother and brother were still alive, her heart was finally at ease. The others were also happy for her, and the atmosphere in the room relaxed. Now that we've confirmed that they're still alive, let's discuss the next step of the plan. My idea is, on the second day, Sima Yue used the excuse of wanting to visit the Beigong clan to walk around. When she was about to reach the small courtyard where Beigong Tang and the others used to live, a girl stopped her with a smile. "This must be young Master Siyu? This little girl is called Beigong Air. Greetings." That girl bowed slightly to Sima Yue, looking a little shy. Sima Yue did not think that this girl would be Beigong Air. She looked a little similar to Beigong Tang, probably inherited from Beigong Ao. "So it's Miss Beigong Air. My apologies. Sima Yue cupped her hands to Bei Gong Air and smiled. Bei Gong Air looked at Sima Yue's courteous manner and smiled coquettishly. Young master, see you. That's an abandoned courtyard. There's nothing much to see. If you want to walk around, why don't I accompany you to a better place? Then I'll have to trouble Miss Bei Gong. Sima Yue replied. I didn't see any guards or servants when I came out just now. I could only walk around blindly. I heard that the Goshawk King doesn't like humans. That's why great-grandfather told the clansmen not to come near here. No wonder you couldn't find him when you came out. Bei Gong Air said. Where does young master see you want to go? So Miss Bei Gong is the young miss of the Bei Gong clan. I really didn't recognize you. Sima Yue pretended to be surprised. Anywhere is fine. I don't have any requirements. I just saw that your clan is so grand and wanted to take a look around. I'll go wherever the scenery is good. Then young master see you, please follow me. Bei Gong Air walked. You really have to follow me wherever the Bei Gong clan is good because I know these things the best. Then this C is very lucky to have met young miss today. Young master see you is too courteous. Bei Gong Air said. Oh right, you came out to walk around. Where are the Goshawk King and the others? They're fixing things in the house. Sima Yue looked at Bei Gong Air, wanting to know what she was up to. Oh. Bei Gong Tang's eyes turned, and she pretended to ask casually. I heard that you have a good relationship with the Goshawk clan. The Goshawk King actually personally came down the mountain for you. I wonder what's going on. Can you tell little Air about it? When Sima Yue heard how little Air addressed her, she was so disgusted that she almost vomited. However, she still had to keep up the act. Actually, it's not a big deal. It's just that my great-grandfather saved the Goshawk King before. Then, did they let you form a contract with their Goshawk King? I heard that the Goshawk King's flying speed is very fast. Is that true? Sima Yue laughed coldly in her heart. This fox's tail was revealed so quickly. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Sword of Destiny YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support. And don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.